Chapter 243, especially for middle and low-level Dragon Realm cultivators. They have unimaginable uses. So you had a look of understanding, as expected of the Shintian manner, especially gathering spiritual jades to absorb spirit energy for the students to cultivate was something unimaginable in the Lucian faction. But there are not many spiritual pools, Zi Yunxiang said, and we have to fight for them. Usually, half of the people do not have the right to enter the spiritual pool. There are many powerful fighters in the Shantian manner, Zi Yunxiang said. It is not easy to obtain the right to enter the spiritual pool. You need to be mentally prepared. Su Yu nodded. I understand. Very quickly, Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang gathered at the center of the forest. There was already a sea of people there, more than 1,000 people. What shocked Su Yu was that their cultivation levels were terrifying. Among them, the lowest cultivation level was Dragon Realm level 4. The highest had surpassed the Dragon Realm and were unfathomable. They were all very young. The youngest was only 14 or 15 years old, while the oldest was not even 25 years old. These were all the geniuses of a Shantian manner. They were obviously not willing to miss the Jade spiritual pool that opened once every 6 months. In the middle of the crowd, there was an elevated arena. There were a few people standing on the arena. The leader was none other than the law enforcer, the tall law enforcer, whom Su Yu had a few conflicts with. Mr. Inu, you have to be careful later. Zi Yunxiang creased her brows. Li Chuan has always been close to the Han family. Furthermore, you have offended him just now. Do not provoke him again. Su Yu's gaze turned cold. He had better not provoke me. All right, since everyone is here, let's start distributing the tokens. Li Chuan shouted. The people behind him took out 500 tokens of the same size. The 500 tokens had 2 colors, red and white. There were 250 red tokens and 250 white tokens. Furthermore, the red tokens were arranged with numbers from 1 to 250. The white tokens were arranged in the same way. In other words, every red token corresponded to a white token with the same number. Zi Yunxiang said, because the number of spirit pawns is limited, we will use the principle of 2 people sharing 1 spirit pawn. Those who draw the same number of red and white tokens will enjoy 1 spirit pawn at the same time. In the forest, there are a total of 250 spiritual pools. Some are good and some are bad. The higher the rank, the better the effect of cultivating in the spiritual pool, and vice versa. Basically, the effect of cultivating in the spiritual pool is 0. So, when you're fighting for the number plate, make sure not to look for the spiritual pool at the top. Su Yu nodded. I know. On the arena, Li Chuan looked around. His gaze paused on Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang. Finally, when his gaze swept past a corner, his eyes flickered slightly. This subtle expression did not escape Su Yu's eyes. When Su Yu looked over, he realized that it was where Han Su was. He was currently mixed in the crowd, fearless. From time to time, he would glance at Zi Yunxiang. Get ready. Begin. Li Chuan shouted. Walalala. 500 jade tokens were instantly thrown into the sky. In a split second, 1,000 people flew into the sky and fought for the number plates. Su Yu's eyes turned crystalline. The jade tokens that looked far away were extremely clear in Su Yu's eyes. With a single look, he could see all of the jade tokens in his eyes. His gaze swept past them quickly. In a short moment, Su Yu had seen all the jade tokens clearly. But what shocked Su Yu was that there was no number 1 jade token. What was going on? Where is the number 1 jade token? Suddenly, Su Yu's sharp eyes discovered that Li Chuan had hidden a red jade token in his sleeve. The number on the token was 1. Cheating. Wait a minute. Li Chuan was not a student. Even if he had the jade token, he did not have the right to enter the jade spiritual pool. He was helping someone else to cheat. Su Yu's gaze swept past, locking onto Han Su. It's him. Li Chuan was cheating to help Han Su. But what was Han Su's motive? At that moment, Zi Yunxiang, who was beside Su Yu, had already flown into the sky to grab the jade tokens. With her abilities, there were not many that she could fight for. But the few jade tokens that she managed to grab were not ideal. Zi Yunxiang gave up and continued to search for new jade tokens in the chaotic arena. At that moment, a red jade token suddenly shot toward her from behind. Zi Yunxiang turned around to grab it, a faint smile appearing on her face at once. Red number 1 jade token. Li Chuan quietly retracted his hand, a hint of playfulness flashing past his eyes. Su Yu's gaze flickered, roughly understanding what kind of trick this was. That white number 1 jade token was most likely in Han Su's hands. That way, Han Su could be in the same spiritual pool as Zi Yunxiang and kiss her. Understanding the reason, Su Yu's gaze flickered. His crystalline eyes swept past Han Su and found the outline of a jade token in his robes. Su Yu's left eye flickered with a purple glow. The space energy swept past, and the jade token silently appeared in Su Yu's palm. Looking at it, it was the white number 1 jade token. Han Su himself was completely unaware, standing calmly in the crowd. When he saw that Zi Yunxiang had obtained the red number 1 jade token, his lips formed a lewd smile. An evil smile. "Mr. Han, are you not going to fight for it?" A student who was trying to curry favor with Han Su asked, seeing that Han Su was unmoved. Han Su's lips twitched. "Do I need to fight for it? No one can snatch this spiritual pool that belongs to me." After saying this, he stood with his arms crossed, calmly waiting for the chaotic scene to end. In the end, 500 people had obtained jade tokens. Li Chuan calmly said, "Let's begin the matching." Number 250 stepped forward. The two of them entered the arena and matched their tokens. Go to spiritual pool number 250 to cultivate. Whoosh! The two of them entered the depths of the forest under the envious gazes of many students who had not obtained a jade token. Number 249 stepped forward. Whoosh! Number 248 stepped forward. Number 2 stepped forward. Two young women entered the arena. Amidst the envy of the crowd, they matched their tokens and left. The spiritual energy contained in the number 2 spiritual pool was shocking. But the most shocking was the number 1 spiritual pool. It was rumored that the spiritual energy contained within was more than 10 times that of the number 2 spiritual pool. Number 1 stepped forward. Li Chuan had a faint smile on his face. Zi Yunxiang wore a faint smile, taking light steps onto the arena. Her beautiful eyes scanned the surroundings. Who would be in the same spiritual pool as her? In her heart, Zi Yunxiang hoped that it would be a female. Even though the spiritual pools were usually larger, it was inevitable for one's clothes to be soaked in the spiritual pool. It would be awkward. Finally, the crowd moved. He was a noble young master, and the passers-by took the initiative to make way for him. The noble young master smiled and walked onto the arena amidst the envy and amazement of the crowd. Young Master Han obtained the number 1 spiritual pool. The heavens are so blind. That's right. He has all kinds of cultivation resources and was lucky enough to obtain the number 1 spiritual pool. And Zi Yunxiang, the daughter of the prefecture master, also obtained the number 1 spiritual pool. Do you still want us to live? Hee. But don't you think that the two of them are fated? They are both descendants of 2 powerful fighters, and they obtained the number 1 spiritual pool at the same time. That's right. Do you think something will happen between the two of them in the spiritual pool? Zi Yunxiang's smile froze, her beautiful eyes filled with disbelief. The person in the same spiritual pool was the person she did not want to see the most, Han Su. On the other hand, Han Su walked onto the arena like a spring breeze. Hee, Xiang it's really fated. Zi Yunxiang was intelligent, and her pretty face turned cold. Did you do something? Han Su shook his head. Do you have evidence? Zi Yunxiang was slightly angry. Thinking back to the strange scene of the number 1 jade token falling in her hands, she was even more certain that Han Su had arranged this behind the scenes. But she had no evidence. Li Chuan had a business-like attitude as he laughed. So the two of you are a pair, young Master Han and Miss Zi. What a perfect match. Zi Yunxiang's eyes were filled with disgust. Don't say things you shouldn't say. Li Chuan's smile did not diminish. Hee, I'm just speaking the truth. To be able to form a team out of 500 people is a match made in heaven. Don't you think so, Miss Zi? Zi Yunxiang's nostrils flared. She gritted her teeth and could only swallow her anger. You better know when to stop. If you do anything out of line, you should know the consequences. Zi Yunxiang warned Han Su without hesitation. What she got was a warm smile from Han Su. Xiang'er, you have misunderstood me. I am infatuated with you. Why would I do such a dirty thing? I think it is my sincerity towards you that moved the heavens. Hence, we are fated. Zi Yunxiang felt disgusted. She felt uncomfortable being in the same spiritual pool as him. Li Chuan had a smile on his face. All right, the two of you can set off. What a perfect match. Han Su smiled warmly. Please, Xiang'er. Zi Yunxiang hesitated for a moment, her heart filled with grievance and bitterness. But for the sake of cultivation, she could only endure it. She moved lightly, forced to walk with Han Su. But at that moment, a light shout came from crowd. Wait! Han Su and Zi Yunxiang stopped at the same time. Han Su creased his brows, his expression turning cold. What do you want? So you did not look at him. Instead, he looked at Li Chuan on the arena. Have you forgotten something? Forgotten what? Li Chuan froze, then realized what Su Yu was referring to. He allowed a light grunt. You think Miss Z would cheat the right to use the #1 spiritual pool? Su Yu shook his head. Of course not. I trust Miss Z's character. The one I cannot trust is Han Su. Hearing this, Li Chuan's expression turned sinister. Insolent. How can Mr. Han be slandered by you? Su Yu's expression turned cold. You are the insolent one. As a law enforcer, you do not act impartially. Instead, you practice favoritism in broad daylight. In order to curry favor with Han Su, you disregard the rules of the Jade spiritual pool. Speak. Who gave you the guts to brazenly violate the rules of the Shintian manor? Li Chuan was furious, but he knew that the #1 white token was in Han Su's hands. Hence, he had been careless and had not allowed the two of them to verify the Jade tokens. Unexpectedly, he was scolded by Su Yu. Chapter 244. Han Su frowned and glanced at the hundreds of people around him. He had to put on an act and said calmly, Captain Li, since someone is suspicious, let's verify it. After his speech, he walked onto the stage once again. He put one of his hands into his robes and looked at Su Yu with disdain. He laughed coldly and disdainfully. This will also make certain people shut their mouths. However, in the next moment, Han Su's expression stiffened. His palm felt around his bosom, but it was empty. The jade medallion had disappeared. Han Su's face warped in horror. He pulled open his chest pocket to check, but it was really gone. He tried to search the rest of his body, but to no avail. Young Master Han, where is your jade token? Su Yu's lips curled into a cold smile. As the son of the Alliance Master, you disregard the rules of the Shintian manor, trample on the dignity of the Shintian manor, and invade the interests of the students. What face do you have? Don't you feel ashamed for the Alliance Chief? As the Alliance Master's son, you should set an example for the world, but what have you done? Despicably swindling the quota, trampling on the rules of Shintian manor, and smearing the reputation of the Alliance. How dare you call yourself the Alliance Master's son? The repeated reprimands caused Han Su, who was frantically searching for his jade pendant, to turn red, his heart burning with anxiety. Where's the jade token? Why did the jade token disappear? You're still pretending. So you snorted coldly and strode onto the arena. Li Chuan's face turned cold. Who allowed you to come up here? Go down. Chua. So you took out a white token from his bosom. There was an eye-catching word 1 on it. I have the jade token with me. Why can't I come up? So you laughed coldly. His gaze was like lightning as he looked at Han Su. Of course you don't have the jade token with you, because this jade token was snatched by me a long time ago. What I didn't expect was that you would impersonate me and forcibly seize the right to the spirit pool. You are too disappointing. Su Yu's voice was powerful and resonant. Immediately, there was an uproar below the stage. Han Su is so despicable. Could it be that he thinks he has a high status and forcefully went up to the stage, and this student will swallow his anger? Most likely so. How absurd. Alliance leader Han has always been wise. How could he have such a despicable son? The crowd below all revealed looks of disgust. Hansu's face alternated between red and green. He glared at Suyu fiercely. You stole my jade tablet? Suyu scolded coldly. You don't know how to repent. After being exposed in public, not only did he not reflect on himself, he even slandered others. Let me ask you, you're standing on the north side of the arena, and I'm standing on the south side. How can I steal your jade token? Hansu, you'd better behave yourself. Suyu reprimanded him with a stern face. That's the greatest virtue. This almost made Hansu vomit blood. You bastard. Li Chuan recovered from his shock, his face darkening. How dare you? How dare you steal young Master Han's jade token? I declare, your number plate is invalid. Declared invalid? Why do you have to do that? Suyu asked. Li Chuan laughed angrily. Based on the fact that I'm a judge, in charge of the jade spiritual pool, you stole someone else's jade token and impersonated it. Your behavior is despicable and should be punished severely. Suyu countered with a cold expression. What a joke. How can you be so sure that the jade pendant belongs to Hansu? Could it be that you knew beforehand that the jade token was with Hansu? Of course I knew. I was the one who gave him the jade token. Li Chuan's voice stopped abruptly. He had an idea, nearly revealing the truth. Suyu laughed mockingly and said, Continue. You gave the jade token to Hansu, right? As a judge, do you think it's fair to give the jade token to someone else beforehand? Do you think you have a right to be in charge of the jade spiritual pool? Do you think you are worthy of your status as a judge? Nonsense. I did not. Li Chuan broke out in a cold sweat. Suyu pressed on. Then how can you be so sure that the jade token originally belonged to Hansu? If you did not know beforehand, how can you so easily conclude that I stole the jade token? Li Chuan's heart was thumping wildly. I only believe in young Master Han's character. That means you do not have proof that I stole the jade token? In other words, is it true that Hansu impersonated someone else and obtained the right to enter the jade spiritual pool? Suyu berated loudly. At this moment, everyone finally understood, no matter how stupid they were. There was something wrong with both Li Chuan and Hansu. Since things had come to this, Li Chuan could only grit his teeth in order to ensure that the matter would not be leaked. I blindly trusted young Master Han and made the wrong decision. However, I definitely did not practice favoritism or commit fraud. I am innocent of this. Suyu laughed mysteriously. I believe in your innocence. But, Judge, young Master Han looked down on the rules of the Xintian Manor, impersonating someone else and obtaining the right to enter the jade spiritual pool. As a judge, you are responsible for punishing all of the Xintian Manor's violations. Could it be that you pretended not to see what was right in front of you? Everyone needs an explanation from you. If you're not willing to be punished, then I have reason to suspect that you and Han Su colluded together, breaking the rules of the jade spiritual pool. I will request the housemaster to make a fair judgment. Li Chuan's face turned pale. Housemaster Z was worried about not having an excuse to deal with the judge's collective betrayal. If he was caught red-handed and executed in front of everyone, the Alliance Master would not be able to do anything. At this moment, the only way was to be fair and clear himself of the crime of colluding with Hansu. Clenching his teeth, Li Chuan forced himself to remain calm. According to the rules, I will give you a heavy punishment. Take 3 punches from me. Li Chuan was a Dragon Realm level 7. Even if he did not die from his 3 punches, he would be severely injured. Hearing this, Hansu was furious. You dare. Suyu's gaze was cold. Umph. Unrepentant. Leaderly. Make your move. We are all watching. Whoosh. Hansu's expression was extremely dark. He charged towards Suyu angrily. I want you dead. Humph. But at this moment, a cold grunt could be heard from far away in the sky. Hansu's body trembled, his face pale, as he fell from the sky. Stubborn, add to your crimes. We're the judge. A loud voice floated in all directions, making it difficult to pinpoint the direction. But everyone could clearly hear who the owner of the voice was. Housemaster Z. It's the Housemaster. Li Chuan's legs turned to jelly, almost kneeling on the ground. His back was covered in cold sweat. I am here. Execute immediately. Li Chuan chased after Han Su in a panic. Han Su's eyes were filled with anger, staring toward the sky. You dare to let someone hit me? Do you understand the situation? He was naked, a naked threat to Zi Donglai. Hearing this, Li Chuan was scared out of his wits. He charged over and pressed Han Su down, sending a message. Mr. Han, don't give Housemaster Z an excuse to attack. Just bear with it for now. Han Su gritted his teeth. Hatred filled the depths of his eyes as he swore in his heart. Just you wait. Li Chuan no longer hesitated, sending 3 punches toward Han Su's chest. Just the first punch caused Han Su to spit out blood and let out a pathetic cry. The second punch caused him a faint. The third punch caused his internal organs to shatter, putting him in a severely injured state. The crowd sighed. Was Han Su asking for it? Li Chuan carried Han Su's heavily injured body. Before he left, he glared at Suyu. You have done something extremely stupid. If not for Suyu, how could Han Su have fallen to such a state? But Suyu's expression was calm. Don't blame others for your stupidity. Li Chuan swallowed his anger and left with Han Su. Now, Suyu, who possessed the white number 1 jade token, naturally shared a spiritual pool with Zi Yunxiang. Moreover, it was a spiritual pool of the highest quality. Zi Yunxiang was dumbfounded. The turn of events had happened too quickly, causing her to be shocked. When she thought of Su Yu's innate space talent, Zi Yunxiang felt relieved. She pursed her lips and smiled. Thank you. Su Yu smiled. I did it for myself. There is no need for this. Zi Yunxiang did not realize that she was feeling very relaxed. At the very least, knowing that she would be sharing a spiritual pool with Han, Su made her feel much more relaxed. The two of them disappeared into the sea of trees in front of the crowd. The 500 spiritual pools were spread out, at least 50 miles away from each other. Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang arrived at the number 1 spiritual pool. It was only a small spiritual pool of 10 square feet, separated from the outside world by a spell. They needed to use the jade token in their hands to activate the spell to enter. The spiritual pool was filled with pieces of precious spiritual jade. The spiritual energy absorbed by the spiritual jade was gradually released into the water, causing the water in the spiritual pool to be filled with an unimaginably dense spiritual energy. As he neared the edge, the dense spiritual energy, which had almost condensed in a mist, entered his body through his pores, causing Su Yu's entire body to feel comfortable. His stagnant dragon realm level 4 cultivation base became restless. The effect of this place was more than 10 times stronger than the flame energy of the Lin family's 9 cloud tower. Back then, Suyu had broken through from Dragon Realm Level 3 upper tier to Dragon Realm Level 4 in just 1 day of training in the 9 cloud tower. Now, in a secret land 10 times the size of the 9 cloud tower and training for 4 days, what level could he break through to? Ever since he had come to the Alliance City, Suyu felt that the Lucian faction was a barren land. In the Lucian faction's territory, breaking through 2 levels in one go was a great opportunity. But in the Alliance City, the Lin family's 9 cloud tower had nature-defying effects for newcomers. The rich resources were beyond imagination. It was no wonder that geniuses gathered in the Alliance City. With such resources, as long as one was talented, they would be able to reach a high level. Filled with anticipation and excitement, Suyu used the jade token and stepped into the spiritual pool. What level of cultivation would he break through to this time? How would he perform at the Alliance meet? All of this caused Suyu to be filled with anticipation. Without another word, Suyu stepped into the pool. At once, a shocking amount of spirit energy gushed forth like a great river. Before Suyu could absorb it, it was as if the spirit energy had found an outlet, taking the initiative to pour into Suyu's body. His limbs, bones, internal organs, flesh, and blood were all undergoing a strong baptism. Suyu's cultivation base rose at a speed visible to the naked eye. Pop! He had only entered for a moment, but with the help of the frightening spirit energy, Suyu easily broke through a level, reaching Dragon Realm Level 4 upper tier. At the shore, Zi Yunxiang's beautiful eyes were filled with an intoxicating shyness. She took off her embroidered shoes, closed her clothes, and stepped into the spiritual pool. The spiritual liquid soaked her ink-colored dress, outlining her curvaceous figure. Suyu had just recovered from his breakthrough. When he opened his eyes to take a look, he could not help but feel shocked. Zi Yunxiang was wearing an ink-colored dress, which had a few traces of white. Now that the thin veil was soaked, it was a little transparent. Coupled with Su Yu's excellent eyesight, it could be said that he could see everything. Chapter 245. It was full and round, causing her red bra to bulge at a shocking angle. Two slightly protruding kernels left 2 clear watermarks on the soaked bra. The unexpected scene was enough to make one vomit blood. Don't look. Zi Yunxiang crossed her arms in front of her chest, her face flushed red. Suyu's face was slightly red. He closed his eyes, seizing the time to cultivate. As he absorbed the spirit energy, he entered a state of comprehension. For days gradually passed. As Suyu and Zi Yunxiang continued to absorb, the spirit energy in the spirit pool gradually thinned. For days later, the spirit pool was clear. The last bit of spirit energy had been absorbed by the two of them. Suyu slowly opened his eyes, still immersed in his breakthrough. Zi Yunxiang had also woken up at this moment. Her cultivation level had broken through to Dragon Realm level 6 lower tier. The huge breakthrough caused Zi Yunxiang's eyes to fill with joy. At her level of cultivation, the chances of a breakthrough were few and far between. Every breakthrough required opportunity. Looking up at Suyu, Zi Yunxiang nodded with a smile. Congratulations, Junior Su. Before entering the pool, Suyu was only Dragon Realm level 4 lower tier. But now he had reached Dragon Realm level 5 lower tier. He'd advanced 3 whole levels, and his progress was so great that it left others flabbergasted. Suyu was slightly disappointed. The breakthrough was much weaker than he had expected. When he entered the pool, he had already broken through to Dragon Realm level 4 upper tier. To think that in 4 days, he had only broken through 2 more levels. But thinking about it, Suyu gradually understood. In a Dragon Realm, the further one progressed, the more difficult it was to break through. Breaking through to Dragon Realm level 3 and Dragon Realm level 4. The difference in energy between the two was more than 10 times. The difficulty of future breakthroughs would only increase. But other than his cultivation level, Suyu had also made great progress with his techniques. After 3 months of hard work, Buddhist Sensei characters was only a step away from the entry level. According to what was written, the entry-level Dragon Realm could kill 4 levels of fighters. Now that Suyu was Dragon Realm level 5 lower tier, theoretically, he could deal devastating damage to an immortal realm fighter. This move was Suyu's trump card. In view of the damage it would cause to his body, he could not use it unless he had no other choice. Next was the Heaven's Sun gazing at air, which was only a hair's breadth away from the first layer. At that time, he would be able to separate his soul from his body and use his soul energy in a clever manner. Next was the 9 fingers of imaginary thunder. The stage 1 Thunderstar finger had been stabilized and improved upon the foundation of lower class, and its power had increased slightly. Coupled with the breakthrough of Su Yu's cultivation base and the abundance of spirit energy, its power had become even stronger. However, what moved Su Yu the most was that his divine decree, which had been stagnant for a long time, had finally made substantial progress. Unknowingly, Su Yu had touched the edge of the divine grade divine decree. He was only a step away from complete mastery, and he would comprehend the half-divine grade divine decree to the divine grade realm. Su Yu was filled with anticipation as to how powerful the divine grade divine decree was. In short, during the trip to the Jade spiritual pool, Su Yu's overall cultivation base had improved tremendously. Miss Z, Suyu, will never forget the kindness you and the housemaster have shown me. One day, I will repay you. Suyu was very grateful to the father and daughter. Zi Yunxiang covered her mouth and laughed. Even though the Zi family was suppressed by the Han family, it was still very powerful. One sentence could change the fate of a certain force in the 100 territories. Suyu was a nameless person with no background. No matter how talented he was, his influence was limited. What would he repay the Z family with? Sensing the meaning behind her words, Suyu did not retort, only remembering the thought. At this moment, a piercing sound could be heard. It was a tall, middle-aged figure, his expression as cold as steel. It was the leader of the law enforcers, Li Chuan. Before he had even arrived, a majestic, cold voice could be heard. Inyu, the Alliance Master has summoned you. Come and see him quickly. Zi Yunxiang's expression changed. No way. My father wants to see him as well. Suyu had just destroyed Han Su's Jade spiritual pool opportunity, and now the Alliance Master was summoning him. He did not come with good intentions. Is that so? Housemaster Z and Alliance Master Han are together. Li Chuan had a cold expression. Let's go. You have to take responsibility for the trouble you caused. Suyu's expression was calm, even if the one looking for trouble was Alliance Master Han. He, Alliance Master? I would also like to meet this legendary Alliance Master. An hour later, outside Housemaster Z's straw hut, a pair of middle-aged men stood shoulder to shoulder. One of them had an ordinary appearance, wearing a gray robe. His expression was calm, as if he was an ordinary fighter. Only those who were familiar with him knew that this person was the Shuntian Manor Master, a legendary figure on the same level as the 100 Territories Alliance Master. Beside Zi Donglai was a man in a yellow robe, standing with his hands behind his back. The golden yellow robe was embroidered with numerous soaring golden dragons. The dragons swallowed the clouds and spat out mist. Complemented by the yellow robe, the man's imposing figure was like a supreme emperor. The majestic aura of an emperor that commanded the world emanated formlessly, intimidating the fighters. The man had a fair complexion and handsome features. Even though he was over 40 years old, he was still extremely spirited. A pair of indifferent eyes shot out a majestic aura that looked down on the world. His figure, standing with his hands behind his back, gave off an indescribable pressure. Han Su stood respectfully behind the man, his expression filled with awe. Housemaster Z, on account of our many years of friendship, the yellow-robed man calmly said, if you are willing to hand over the Xintian Manor and betroth Yunxiang to my son Han Su, I will allow the Z family to continue staying in the 100 Territories. It was as if he was merely narrating an ordinary matter, and was not aggressive at all. Zi Donglai creased his brows. Alliance Master Han, you are being presumptuous. This yellow-robed man was the legendary figure of the 100 Territories Alliance, the Alliance Master. But Alliance Master Han's tone was arrogant, demanding power, and forcing a marriage. Han Jianglin's indifferent eyes shot out a shred of coldness. Have you really thought it through? Hearing this, Zi Donglai's eyes also glowed with coldness. Unless I, Zi Donglai, die. In other words, he would never agree to such an unreasonable request. Asking for power in the Xintian Manor was one thing, but now he wanted to snatch his only daughter, Zi Yunxiang. Fine. Alliance Master Han's tone was cold. A formless killing intent circulated between the two of them, as if it could explode at any moment. Whoosh! At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. It was Li Chuan, leading Suyu and Zi Yunxiang back. Seeing Suyu, Han Su suddenly lifted his head, his eyes burning with anger. You. Han Jianglin turned his head to look, his indifferent gaze unwavering. It was as if he was looking down on a lowly ant. Suyu had yet to land, but he calmly said, Do you know your crime? These words contained a frightening power, causing the space around Suyu to freeze. Suyu felt as if a mountain was pressing down on him all of a sudden, causing him to stagger abruptly and almost fall. Suyu was furious. A dignified Alliance Master had actually attacked a junior. Forcefully stabilizing himself, Suyu landed, his eyes cold as he asked, What crime have I committed? If you want to say that exposing your son for favoritism and breaking the rules of the Jade spiritual pool is a crime, then it is indeed a heinous crime. Since he had come with ill intentions, why did he have to act in front of him? Han Jianglin creased his brows. He had not expected a lowly person to dare talk back to him. Kneel, Han Jianglin calmly said, his words filled with authority that could not be defied. Chapter 246. Ah, as expected of the people of the Alliance. You're all made from the same mold, asking people to kneel at the drop of a hat. Su Yu laughed, his laughter filled with sarcasm. You think you can control the fate of the people with your strength, that you can trample on dignity and treat human lives as you please? Su Yu was extremely disgusted with the Alliance. From the murderous Lu Jun to the overbearing and rude Alliance Master, it was hard to have a good impression of him. As the leader of a force, he had to be shrewd and magnanimous, presenting himself to others with an exceptional image. But towards Su Yu, they did not even try to hide it. In their eyes, Su Yu was no different from a pig or a dog. They had no respect for him. Would he dare ask Zi Donglai to kneel? Would he dare ask Zi Yunxiang to kneel? He would not dare, because he had sufficient respect for them. As for Su Yu, he was a nameless person, not worthy of respect. Han Jianglin creased his brows. Su Yu's rebuke had made him unhappy. His indifferent eyes could not hide a sliver of disdain. Don't make me repeat myself a second time. Kneel. Perhaps in his eyes, speaking to someone of Su Yu's level was already degrading his status. Su Yu was unmoved, standing at his original position. You have already repeated yourself twice. Did no one teach you to think before you speak? Impatience and disgust flashed past Han Jianglin's eyes. I have already given you a chance to explain yourself. Since you did not cherish it, I will pronounce you guilty. Breaking the rules of the Jade's spiritual pool and harming others, according to the law, death. Han Jianglin was filled with killing intent, so you could not help but laugh in anger. The truth was set that day. The one who broke the rules was your son, Han Su. The law enforcer even punished him in front of everyone. A few days later, your mouth inverted right and wrong, slandering me for breaking the rules. Han Jianglin looked at Su Yu indifferently, calmly saying, what I said is the truth. My previous sentence is invalid. In any case, if I say you're guilty, then you are guilty. Han Jianglin calmly raised his palm, slapping towards Su Yu. It was obviously an ordinary palm strike, but Su Yu could feel a great power of the universe engulfing it. The feeling of life and death on the verge of collapse rushed through his heart. At that moment, humph, a light grunt could be heard. Zi Donglai casually flicked his sleeves, dispelling the killing intent that had locked onto Su Yu. Alliance Master Han, I, Zi Dong, am still here. Aren't you looking down on me too much? Zi Donglai's expression was cold. Han Jianglin narrowed his eyes. You dare to meddle in my business? Zi Donglai's robes fluttered even though there was no wind. He retorted, you dare touch my people? As long as Su Yu is in the Shuntian manor, don't even think of touching him. Zi Donglai's whole body was filled with murderous intents. Han Jianglin's eyes flickered. After a moment of confrontation, he slowly withdrew his aura. His slightly stiff expression hid his anger. So you're saying that my son was bullied for nothing? Han Jianglin said coldly. Zi Donglai countered, what do you want? Narrowing his eyes, Han Jianglin said, naturally, I'll let my son fight back. Since he has received 3 palm strikes, and you will have to repay 3 palm strikes. Unreasonable. Zi Donglai laughed angrily. Han Su is Dragon Realm level 6. How could Yin Yu possibly block his 3 palms? Han Jianglin raised his head and shook his head coldly. I don't care. I only want Yin Yu to pay the price of 3 palm strikes. Otherwise, no matter who tries to stop us today, this Alliance Master will kill them. Without waiting for Zi Donglai's reply, Su Yu took a step forward, his eyes filled with disdain. You want to take revenge? That depends on whether your son has the ability to do so. Han Jianglin's gaze turned cold. So you accept the agreement of 3 palm strikes? I think that 1 palm strike is the most reasonable, Su Yu calmly said. 3 palm strikes is a little too much. Han Jianglin grunted. My words are like gold and jade. If I say 3 palm strikes, it will be 3. Don't even think about 1 less palm strike. Su Yu did not retort, looking toward Han Su, who was standing behind Han Jianglin. Your father has already stood up for you, Su Yu said coldly. How long do you intend to hide? Come out. Accept the challenge. Han Su had come in anger, suppressing Su Yu with his power. But in this situation, it was as if Su Yu had the initiative, forcing Han Su to be passive. His expression was slightly ferocious as Han Su stepped forward in anger. What a joke. Han Su, can suppress you with one palm strike. Why would I need my father to stand up for me? Su Yu coldly said. Then why are you hiding behind your father? If you have a backbone, you will take revenge for yourself when you are bullied. Let your father seek justice for you. You will never amount to anything if you hide under the protection of your elders. To put it bluntly, other than your status, what else do you have to be proud of? Hearing Su Yu's direct words, Han Su's expression turned green and red. You 3 palm strikes, I want you dead. Han Su is furious. Noisy. If you want to fight, then fight. Relying on your glib tongue to show off. Is this the junior of the Alliance Master? Han Su's face turned red, about to vomit blood. It was clear that Inu had been nagging and had rebuked him for being noisy. Die. Mixed element palm. Han Su was furious, attacking without mercy. His immortal level cultivation technique was close to stage 1 lower class. With Han Jianglin's help to comprehend, Han Su's cultivation techniques were not something an ordinary person could compare to. Combined with his Dragon Realm level 6 cultivation base, his power was far greater than Qin Xiaoyao's. If he had participated in the Alliance meet, he would definitely have a place in the top 10. Unfortunately, his opponent was Su Yu. Thunderstar Finger. Su Yu pointed with his finger. Compared to before, his power had increased by more than 30%. Crash. A violent explosion reverberated between the two of them. Han Su let out a pathetic cry. With a cracking sound, the bones in his palm shattered, fresh blood splattering everywhere. The power of the thunderbolt traveled along his arm and entered his body, wreaking havoc. It caused Han Su to vomit a mouthful of fresh blood mixed with minced flesh. Han Su had been severely injured in the exchange. Zi Yunxiang was not the only one stunned. Zi Donglai and Han Jianglin were also stunned. In their imaginations, it would be difficult for Su Yu to withstand 3 palm strikes. But the reality was that he had severely injured Han Su with 1 strike. The contrast between before and after left everyone dumbfounded. Han Su was shocked. His humiliation and unwillingness turned into hatred. You dare injure me? It was clear that his father had fought for an opportunity to severely injure Su Yu and take revenge. In the end, not only had he failed to take revenge, but he had also been severely injured by Su Yu. Humph, have you forgotten something? Su Yu let out a cold grunt, his body fast as lightning, chasing after him. This is only the first palm. There are still 2 more. Rumble. He used the Thunderstar Finger once again, attacking Han Su. Han Jianglin reacted, his expression turning cold. Junior, you're asking for death. Scram. Unexpectedly, Zi Donglai blocked him, calmly saying, Alliance Master Han, what about your precious words? So you suggested that 1 palm strike would suffice. You were the one who insisted on 3 palm strikes. Are you going back on your words now? Han Jianglin's expression turned stiff. Hearing the sarcasm in Zi Donglai's words, he felt humiliated. Clenching his teeth, Han Jianglin gave up on attacking. He stared at Su Yu coldly. Try and injure my son if you dare. Su Yu's response was to attack without holding back. When Han Su wanted to kill Su Yu, Han Jianglin had looked on coldly. Why would Su Yu hold back? Would Han Jianglin be grateful to Su Yu if he let him go? Rumble second palm. Su Yu's fingers shattered Han Su's abdomen, piercing through his body. In an instant, blood and flesh flew everywhere. Han Jianglin was filled with killing intent. You, find, die. In an instant, Han Jianglin finally attacked. Zi Donglai's figure flickered, blocking Han Jianglin. He laughed. Alliance Master Han, the agreement has not been fulfilled. Why are you in such a hurry to attack? Scram. Now that things had come to this, how could Han Jianglin still care about his reputation? If this continued, his son would be killed on the spot. I'm sorry, Zi Donglai said. Since this battle has begun in the Shuntian manner, I will not allow you to disrupt it. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Su Yu completed his 3rd attack. The last palm. Hu. Su Yu's attack pierced through Han Su's chest. His heart had been blasted open. That was the most fatal part of a person. Once it was damaged, only death awaited. Ah, I'll kill you. Han Jianglin was almost mad. His son had been killed on the spot. But Zi Donglai was one step ahead of him, protecting Su Yu behind him. He glanced at Han Su, whose breathing was weak and on the verge of death, and was slightly disappointed. Alliance Master Han, Zi Donglai calmly said, you had better bring him back quickly. If not, your flesh regeneration elixir might not be effective. Han Jianglin's old eyes were red, spitting out a deep murderous intent. But Zi Donglai's words forced him to be cautious. Carrying Han Su, Han Jianglin stared at Su Yu coldly. This gaze made Su Yu feel as if he was being stared at by a venomous snake, his entire body turning cold. You must pay the price. I swear. After saying this, he left quickly. Zi Donglai looked at his departing figure, a little disappointed. He turned his head and looked at Su Yu deeply. Why did you show mercy for the last attack? You should have been able to kill him with one palm. Su Yu calmed his blood, smiling. I knew I could not hide it from you, Elder. Zi Yunxiang had a strange expression. This youth, who was younger than him, seemed to be very scheming. I spared his life because I wanted to confirm if the flesh regeneration elixir existed. The elixir was a prize from the Alliance meet, but there was no proof of its existence. Sparing Han Su's life was a test. If it did not exist, with his heart damaged, Han Jianglin could do nothing about it. But from his performance just now, the flesh regeneration elixir really did exist. Only then could Su Yu be sure that there was a need for him to participate in the Alliance meet. The flesh regeneration elixir does exist. In Han Jianglin's early years, he obtained several types of nature-defying elixirs from an ancient relic. The flesh regeneration elixir is one of them. However, it will be difficult for you to obtain it. Zi Donglai looked at Su Yu deeply and shook his head slightly. Zi Donglai looked at Su Yu deeply, shaking his head. Even if you could defeat the 3 great legendary geniuses, it would still be impossible. Su Yu was shocked. The 3 great legendary geniuses, Lin Aojue, Mr. Feng Yu, and Zi Yunxiang. The 3 of them represented the pinnacle of the 100 Territories Alliance. Defeating them and still not being able to obtain the flesh regeneration elixir. Chapter 247. The undisputed first place? Su Yu clenched his fists. The Alliance meet is in 4 days, Zi Donglai said. Why don't you and Xiang'er exchange pointers? It will be very beneficial to your participation in the meet. Zi Yunxiang gladly agreed. After they left, Zi Donglai's eyes were filled with complicated emotions. Whoosh! Lin Yunhe floated over from an unknown location. Housemaster Zi, you finally attacked. Lin Yunhe sighed. Han Jianglin forced you to give up your position and marry my daughter, but you resisted. Why did you attack for Su Yu? Just now, the 2 of you exchanged blows. I'm afraid Han Jianglin has already sensed that you are seriously injured. As the leader of a generation, Han Jianglin was extremely shrewd. How could he be so violent to the extent of shedding all pretense of cordiality and being overbearing? He was actually trying to provoke Zi Donglai into attacking to test his injuries. Zi Donglai smiled casually, his face filled with relief. What's wrong with that? Sooner or later, I won't be able to hide my injuries. Being able to protect a genius from Han Jianglin is worth it. Unfortunately, Su Yu does not know what you have done for him. You do not have much time left. Lin Yunhe sighed. Zi Donglai laughed and shook his head. No matter. A disaster has befallen me. I have long disregarded life and death. Protecting a genius of the human race may be the last thing I can do in my remaining life. The word disaster caused Lin Yunhe's heart to tremble. A bright smile appeared on his aged face. Yes, a disaster has befallen us old bones. We do not have much time left to live. Before we perish, we will do our best to protect the juniors who have hope. Over the next 4 days, the Alliance City was in turmoil. The geniuses of the 100 Territories silently entered the city. As time passed, the atmosphere became more tense. The Alliance meet, held once every 5 years, the strongest competition of the 100 territories, had finally arrived. In the training room, Zi Yunxiang's body was drenched in sweat, drenching her clothes and accentuating her figure. Her flushed face was full of praise. It is indeed an immortal level technique. Dragon Realm Level 5 lower tier can unleash the power of Dragon Realm Level 6 lower tier, just below Dragon Realm Level 6 upper tier. After sparring for a few days, Zi Yunxiang was shocked. His abilities were between Dragon Realm Level 6 lower tier and Dragon Realm Level 6 upper tier. He was only slightly weaker than her. Suyu smiled. "Thank you for your guidance, Miss Z." Actually, regardless of whether he was fighting against Han Su or Zi Yunxiang, Suyu had held back when he used his Thunder Star Finger. In terms of true strength, he was above Zi Yunxiang. Moreover, Suyu had not used his trump card, Buddhist Saints 8 characters. There is no need to belittle yourself. With your talent and cultivation, you will catch up to me sooner or later, Zi Yunxiang said with a faint smile. Suyu touched his nose and gave a simple smile. "All right, the Alliance tournament is about to begin. Let's go." Zi Yunxiang's eyes were filled with anticipation. Suyu nodded his head and left the training room with her, arriving at the entrance of the Xintian Manor. The Iron Gate had not been opened, and there were several people waiting near the Iron Gate. They were students of the Xintian Manor. The arrival of Zi Yunxiang and Suyu attracted a lot of attention. As the daughter of the Manor Lord, Zi Yunxiang's status was noble and aloof. As for Suyu, he was in the limelight at the Jade Spiritual Pool, and many people recognized him. "You are Zi Yunxiang?" Right at this moment, a cold question suddenly sounded out from within the crowd that was waiting for them. Suyu looked over. It was a purple-robed youth, about 17 or 18 years old. He was hugging an ancient bronze sword, leaning against the Iron Gate. His cold eyes were like sharp arrows, piercing through people's hearts. His cultivation level had reached Dragon Realm Level 6 peak. This caused Suyu to raise his brows. A genius comparable to Lin Aojue? No. In terms of age, he was only 17, but Lin Aojue was already over 19. Zi Yunxiang froze, her gaze falling on him before nodding. "That's me. You are..." The purple-robed youth coldly interrupted Zi Yunxiang. "That means you are one of the 3 legendary geniuses? It is just an exaggeration from an outsider. What advice do you have?" Feeling the faint hostility, Zi Yunxiang's expression turned cold. The purple-robed youth sized him up for a moment, his nostrils flaring. "At least you have some self-awareness. With your abilities, you call yourself a legendary genius? You do not even have the right to draw my sword." Zi Yunxiang creased her brows, coldly saying, "Whatever you think. Looks like you are not convinced." The purple-robed youth sneered. "If you wish to participate in the Alliance meet, you had better pray that you do not meet me. Remember my name? Wu Yaoyue." The expression of the originally cold Zi Yunxiang changed when she heard Wu Yaoyue's name. "You are Wu Yaoyue?" To this, the purple-robed youth retracted his gaze in disdain, not bothering to explain. Zi Yunxiang's eyes glowed with respect. Her expression turned serious for the first time, as if she was facing a terrifying enemy. Suyu's gaze flickered. "Who is he? Do you remember how you entered the Xintian Manor?" Zi Yunxiang asked. Suyu was at a loss. Of course it was predetermined, and it was one of only 2 predetermined spots. "You mean Wu Yaoyue is the other?" To this, Zi Yunxiang nodded with a serious expression. "That's him, Wu Yaoyue. The Xintian Manor never recruits students in advance, but there are 2 exceptions this year. One is you, and the other is Wu Yaoyue." Suyu's predetermined spot meant that he had a rare talent in space, and the Z family had chosen him. But for Wu Yaoyue, there was only one possibility. He was too outstanding. It is said that he once challenged Lin Aojue. Zi Yunxiang's eyes were filled with respect. Suyu's gaze flashed. "What was the result?" Zi Yunxiang shook her head. "I do not know. The 2 of them fought in the Lin family, and outsiders would not know the details. The 2 of them had similar cultivation levels, so it was hard to say how strong they were. His background is very mysterious. Father has investigated for a long time, but has not been able to find out." Zi Yunxiang lowered her voice, at the same time looking at Su Yu. Su Yu's identity was also very mysterious. Mysterious background? Su Yu stared at Wu Yaoyue deeply. For some reason, Su Yu felt an inhuman aura from Wu Yaoyue's body. But if he tried to sense it carefully, there was no aura, and it was difficult to detect. Just what was this person's identity? Other than the three great ancient regions of the Alliance City, which other force could nurture such a talented person? Creak. At that moment, the giant door opened, and the crowd walked out. Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang left the Shuntian Manor, arriving at the Beast Arena of the Alliance City. This was where the fighters of the Alliance City battled. But sometimes the battles were not between humans, but between beasts. The 100 Territories was a barbaric land, and there were many demonic beasts. Hence, there were beasts that were caught to fight with humans, and it was used for entertainment. Only today was the arena empty. Su Yu entered, and a giant arena that could hold 100,000 people appeared before his eyes. There were 10 arenas in the center of the arena, and they could fight at the same time. The scene was spectacular, and it left everyone dumbfounded. Just one look at it made one feel small. Under the gaze of 100,000 spectators, Su Yu's blood was boiling, and his fighting spirit rose. Zi Yunxiang, who was beside him, clenched her fists. Her eyes could not hide the fighting spirit in them. Su Yu patted her shoulder, comforting her with a smile. His crystalline eyes scanned the surroundings. In the crowd, he saw the various forces of the Alliance City. The Lin family, the Zheng family, the Feng family, the Han family, and the Ouyang family. Familiar people, Lin Aojiue and Sir Fengyu, the two legendary geniuses, were among them. The two of them were the center of attention, like peerless swords about to be unsheathed. At the same time, Su Yu also saw a few familiar figures. The number one genius of the Lucian faction, Ji Hongxue, and the faction master who had accompanied him. His right arm had been severed, and his expression was haggard and dim. He no longer had the air of a faction master. Hongxue, the Lucian faction depends on you. The Lucian faction master's empty sleeves fluttered in the wind, his expression bitter. Ji Hongxue's eyes were filled with sorrow, and he clenched his fists tightly. Master, don't worry. I will definitely fight my way into the top 100 and enter the Xintian Manor to train. In the future, I will revive the Lucian faction. The Lucian faction master lowered his head in shame, his voice low and hoarse, filled with sorrow. It is my incompetence that has harmed the faction. Half of the faction's elders have been massacred by Su Yu. Of the 4 great geniuses, 2 had died, and 1 had escaped. Only Ji Hongxue was left. The faction's power was declining, and many surrounding forces coveted it, causing the Lucian faction's territory to shrink continuously. Now, it could only struggle at death's door, guarding the area within 10,000 miles of the faction. It was not far from destruction, and all of this was because of the wrong decision, to capture and kill Su Yu. If it could start all over again, the Lucian faction master would not have provoked Su Yu. Unfortunately, what the world lacked the most was medicine for regret. At the Lin family, the green-robed elder's expression was cold. Aojiue, if you meet Inyu, do not hold back. Kill him. As a disciple of the ancient region, the Alliance Master will not do anything to you if you kill someone and break the rules. Knives and swords had no eyes. With this as an excuse, he believed that the Alliance Master would not investigate further. Lin Aojiue creased his brows. You want me to kill him? He does not even have the right to fight me. Killing him would dirty my hands. There is someone else who is worthy of fighting me. Lin Aojiue's eyes were filled with battle intent, his sharp gaze searching for that person in the crowd. The green-robed elder was furious. Unfortunately, Lin Aojiue's status was special, and he did not dare reprimand him. At the Zheng family, Zheng Nanshan's expression was haggard, his eyes bloodshot. He gently caressed a jade box in his palm. A phoenix feather lay quietly in the box. Feather, you will pay for my son's death with your blood. Zheng Nanshan's voice was hoarse, like a beast growling. He had not slept the entire night, investigating the origins of Su Yu and the phoenix feather. His hard work paid off. He had no clue as to Su Yu's origins, but he had some information about the phoenix feather. The feather of the spiritual pet of the phoenix cabinet's master had been stolen. In other words, Su Yu and the phoenix cabinet had no connection. In fact, they had a grudge. At the Feng family, Mr. Feng Yu's warm face turned rigid, his expression gradually turning gloomy. In his eyes, he saw the figures of Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang standing side by side. The two of them chatted, making Mr. Feng Yu burn with jealousy. "How dare you touch the woman I have decided on?" Mr. Feng Yu's eyes were filled with killing intent. At the Ouyang family, Ouyang Yusin was also staring at Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang. For some unknown reason, he felt a faint sourness in his heart when he saw this scene. Chapter 248. But now they were like strangers. Ouyang Long seemed to understand his daughter's thoughts, sighing, "You have no more interactions with him. Let go." Hearing this, Ouyang Yusin was surprisingly silent, not rebutting. Sweeping his gaze around, Su Yu retracted his gaze, creasing his brows. Where was Mo Wu? Back then, Mo Wu had left first. She should have arrived at the Alliance City earlier than Su Yu. Why was she nowhere to be seen? Her entire life, she had worked hard to fulfill her wish, swearing to restore Yuro's beauty. The Alliance meet was her opportunity. Why was she nowhere to be seen? A thread of worry welled up in his heart. The main character is here. Zi Yunxiang suddenly reminded. Su Yu looked over. On the platform, two figures floated over, under the respectful gazes of 100,000 people. One wore a yellow robe, the other wore a simple gray robe. They were the Alliance Master and the Shuntian Manor Master. The two sat shoulder to shoulder. The entire place was dead silent. They were the legends of the 100 Territories Alliance, the strongest fighters of the martial path. Meet begin. Referee, please enter the arena. Han Jianglin calmly said, his voice spreading in all directions. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 11 silhouettes flew out from different corners. 10 of them stood on 10 arenas. Only one person floated in the air, wearing a green robe. It was the Lin family's great elder. To ensure fairness, the referees are chosen from families other than the Alliance Master's Manor and the Xintian Manor. This method ensures the greatest fairness. 10 of them will be in charge of one arena. The Lin family's great elder will be the head referee. Han Jianglin announced. Lin Lingjian begin. The Lin family's green-robed elder, Lin Lingjian, received Han Jianglin's signal. He nodded and surveyed the surroundings. The Alliance meet is split into 2 stages. The first stage is the elimination round. Everyone has 2 chances to compete. If you win once, you can advance. If you lose both times, you will be eliminated. The second stage is the ranking round. The ranking will be decided by the 2 Alliance Masters and me, the head referee. There's only one rule. Do not kill each other. All right, the competition begins. Participants, draw your number plates. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The black figures flew to the center of the arena, taking their number plates from Lin Lingjian. When it was Su Yu's turn, Lin Lingjian's gaze turned slightly cold. Lad, take care of yourself. Su Yu did not even lift his eyelids. He said indifferently, you don't have to worry about it. Humph. Let's see how long you can laugh. Next was the grouping. Su Yu was assigned to the 10th group. Unfortunately, the judge of Group 10 was also an elder of the Lin family. His abilities had reached Dragon Realm Level 7. After receiving Lin Lingjian's hint, the Lin family's referee had a hostile attitude towards Su Yu. Brat, if you dare to break the rules, I will not let you off. The Lin clan's judge warned him on the spot. The contestants of the 10 groups all revealed expressions of schadenfreude. Most of them did not recognize Su Yu. After all, only 20 people were qualified to attend the Yunxiang Cabinet Master's birthday celebration. Upon hearing the warning, Su Yu furrowed his brows and shot him a cold look. Are you talking to me? Judge Lin sneered. Are you deaf? Why only me? What about the others? Why didn't they warn them? Su Yu asked coldly. The judge from the Lin clan had a look of disdain on his face. I am a judge. It is my duty to give you a warning. It's part of my duty? As a referee, you do not uphold justice. Instead, you use your position for personal gain, discriminating against individual contestants. Do you have the right to be a referee? Su Yu scolded. The contestants present were treated equally. The Alliance Master and House Master did not vent their displeasure on individual contestants. As a small referee, you dare to look down on the fairness of the competition? Who gave you the guts? Was it you, Lin Lingjian, or your Lin family? Speak. Su Yu's repeated scoldings inevitably attracted the attention of others. Even Zidong Lai and Han Jianglin could not help but look over. The Lin family's referee felt as if there was a dagger on his back, his face red. Especially when the Alliance Master and House Master noticed it. He felt even more guilty. That's enough. The Lin family's referee scolded softly, his expression sullen. Chapter 249. He let out a pathetic cry as he was sent flying out of the arena, crashing heavily onto the ground. With the second impact, he spat out another mouthful of blood and fainted on the spot. This scene made everyone suck in a breath of cold air. A casual kick had such terrifying power, even a top-notch Dragon Realm level 6 fighter could not compare. The referee from the Lin family froze for a moment, a shred of surprise in his eyes. Huang Xiaoyan wins. Next, Yin versus Huang Xiaoyan. The crowd was in an uproar, snickering. Yin is lucky. He will definitely be doted on by Huang Xiaoyan. Hearing the laughter around him, Su Yu creased his brows, walking onto the arena unwillingly. Huang Xiaoyan, will never repeat myself. Remember, wait for me after the match. Huang Xiaoyan warned. Su Yu creased his brows, looking at the referee from the Lin family. You can announce the start of the match. The referee from the Lin family looked at him with disdain, then at Huang Xiaoyan. Huang Xiaoyan wins this match. The match had yet to begin, and the result was already announced. But the crowd was not surprised. The other groups had already announced such a result. The referee would determine the outcome of the match based on the abilities of the contestants, only targeting those who were weaker than them. This Mr. Yinyu's cultivation level was only Dragon Realm level 1. Compared to Huang Xiaoyan, the difference was too great. Such an announcement was not an exaggeration. Even Mr. Fengyu, who had seen Su Yu fight, curled his lips. This is as far as you can go. All right, the next group. The referee from the Lin family looked at Su Yu, calmly announcing. Wait. Su Yu stared coldly at the referee. What is the reason you announce my defeat? Once again, provoked by Su Yu, the referee mocked. Of course it is because your abilities are too weak. Don't blame yourself for losing without a fight. Blame yourself for being useless. Next match. Wait. How do you know that I am inferior to her? Su Yu asked coldly. The referee from the Lin family said proudly. Of course it is my judgment. Take back your announcement, Su Yu calmly said. I want to fight her. The referee from the Lin family grunted. I am the referee. Your judgment is wrong. Su Yu calmly replied. Referee Lin's face darkened, and he scolded him word by word. I said, I'm the referee. I will say it once more. Your judgment is wrong. Su Yu's gaze turned cold. Humph. If you dare to disobey the referee's decision, I will disqualify you in the name of the referee. Scram. The referee from the Lin clan announced loudly. Su Yu was silent for a moment, then took a few steps forward under the gaze of the crowd. However, he did not leave. Instead, he strode towards Huang Xiaoyan. Huang Xiaoyan raised her eyebrows and said, You want to challenge my dignity? Get lost. The huge fist, which was wrapped in an unparalleled power, bombarded Su Yu's head. Su Yu's expression turned cold, and he shouted coldly, Get lost. Rumble. The Thunderstar finger blasted out, and lightning splashed everywhere. The momentum of heaven and earth suddenly descended. Huang Xiaoyan let out a blood-curdling scream. His giant body was sent flying out of the arena by a single finger, crashing onto the ground. Looking closely, that terrifyingly strong fist had been destroyed until it was charred black. With just one move, he had easily defeated Huang Xiaoyan. Many people did not pay attention to the 10th group, but at this moment, they were all attracted to it. Su Yu stood at his original position. Huang Xiaoyan's powerful physical strength had not caused him to move an inch. A genius who could defeat a Dragon Realm level 6 lower tier had been born. The audience was excited, sizing up the mysterious silver-masked youth in surprise. Mr. Feng Yu's smile turned rigid, his expression a little sinister. When did he become so powerful? On the arena, Su Yu looked coldly at the referee from the Lin clan. I said before that your judgment was wrong. Your judgment is only SOSO. Now, you still want to judge me as the loser? You still want to disqualify me from the competition? Su Yu used his abilities and actions to refute. The referee from the Lin clan was speechless, his face red. I made a mistake. The referee from the Lin clan argued. Su Yu laughed. A mistake? You can explain it away by saying it was a mistake? A mistake, and you nearly eliminated a strong fighter. A mistake, and you almost disqualified someone from the competition. Do you think you still have the face to be a referee? After saying this, Su Yu shot his gaze toward Lin Lingjin. Since you are the head referee, shouldn't you say something now? From the start, he did not have the talent to be a referee. He has repeatedly made such a low-level mistake. How long are you going to tolerate him? The referee from the Lin clan was so angry that he vomited blood, his fingers trembling. What about you? You are useless, yet you feel good about yourself and act arrogantly. What right do you have to continue being a referee? With you around, who can guarantee that the rest of the people will not be wronged? Lin Lingjin was furious. A member of the Lin clan had been chased away on the spot. To the Lin clan, this was a slap in the face. Suppressing his anger, Lin Lingjin said, "Aren't you fine now? Continue with the competition. I'm sorry. If you do not change the referee, I will withdraw from the competition." Su Yu's words caused an uproar among the audience. But no one felt that he had gone overboard. The standard of this referee from the Lin clan was indeed low. In the beginning, he had used his position for personal gain. Now, he had no judgment and was arrogant. He had almost disqualified an outstanding talent who was comparable to the three great legends. Such a person as a referee would only bring disaster. Inyu, don't go too far, Lung Taijian said angrily. But at this moment, Donglai leisurely said, "Change the referee." These three short words did not allow for dissent. Lung Tiejian's body trembled, his expression filled with respect. Yes, even though Han Jianglin was unhappy, the referee from the Lin clan had indeed been biased. If he protected the referee but chased Su Yu away, he would be criticized. Hence, he only stared at Su Yu coldly and did not retort. The referee from the Lin clan's face turned red, his body trembling with anger. He felt ashamed. As a referee, he had been chased off the stage by a contestant. This was a great humiliation. Unsatisfied, the referee from the Lin clan left dejectedly and replaced him with a referee from another clan. The competition will continue. Next match, Inyu versus Lin Aojue. Su Yu raised his brows. He was going to fight the number one fighter, Lin Aojue. So early? This was even earlier than he had expected. Lin Lingjin's expression turned ugly, a cold smile appearing on his face. There were 100 people, but the probability of meeting him was only 1 in 50. Su Yu's bad luck could be seen clearly. Mr. Feng Yu's expression finally eased. He sneered. This is the end. At the same time, the spectators became excited. Lin Aojue, the leader of the three great legends, is finally going to fight. I've never seen him make a move. Such a genius is elusive and elusive. It's a pity for Mr. Inyu. The honor that he worked so hard to obtain is going to be destroyed in an instant, becoming Lin Aojue's wedding gown. Su Yu's limelight grew. When he was stepped on by Lin Aojue, the legend of Lin Aojue's legendary genius would be highlighted. So he took a light breath. Since he could not avoid it, he would fight in advance. Chapter 250. Get on the stage, the referee shouted. Lin Aojue stood below the stage with his arms crossed. He raised his sharp eyes and looked at Su Yu, who was on the stage. His gaze caused the audience to seethe with excitement. His appearance caused 100,000 gazes to converge on him, the number one genius of the Alliance City. However, Lin Aojue raised his eyes and slowly retracted them. He stood at his original position, not moving an inch. The referee creased his brows. Lin Aojue, please follow the rules. If you do not get on the stage within 3 breaths, I will assume that you have admitted defeat. But Lin Aojue remained indifferent, coldly saying, "Then I will admit defeat." At once, the audience was in an uproar. The referee could not help but be shocked. "Lin Aojue, are you sure you did not say anything wrong?" Lin Aojue snorted coldly, saying, "I will not repeat the same words twice." He really admitted defeat. The audience was confused. Lin Lingjian, Mr. Feng Yu, and the audience, who had been anticipating Lin Aojue's battle, were at a loss. Mr. Yu was so strong, but Lin Aojue was not even willing to fight him. Only Su Yu thought of something and shook his head, finding it funny. The referee came back to his senses, solemnly saying, "All right, I announce that Lin Aojue does not dare to accept the challenge." He voluntarily admitted defeat. Su Yu wins. Wait. Lin Aojue suddenly opened his mouth, his eyes filled with disdain. "I admit defeat, not because I do not dare to fight, but because I do not wish to fight. He does not even have the right to fight me. Rather than fight him on the stage, why not admit defeat?" Lin Aojue coldly said. Hearing this, the audience was stunned for a moment. After that, they went into an uproar. Arrogant. In the entire 100 Territories Alliance, only Lin Aojue is so domineering and arrogant. On the stage, who would not fight with all their might, trying to win one of the 2 battles? But Lin Aojue disdained to fight with Yu, giving up a chance on the spot. But he does have a reason to be arrogant. Even though Yu is strong, he is clearly not on the same level as Lin Aojue. In comparison, Yu is nothing. Yes, he was born in the wrong era, the same era as Lin Aojue. That is the only outcome. I can't even get a chance to fight him. How pathetic. Su Yu smiled. Just as he thought. In the 9-Cloud Tower, Lin Aojue did not want to share a room with Su Yu. He would rather give up on training. Now, in the arena, he did not want to fight with Su Yu. He would rather admit defeat. Su Yu calmly accepted the criticism of the crowd. If he could avoid a battle, why not? As such, Su Yu won both battles and advanced to the next round. Stepping down from the arena, a fragrant wind blew over. Zi Yunxiang, who had also advanced, had a comforting expression on her face. "Yu, don't mind him. That's just how Lin Aojue is." Su Yu shook his head. "No matter. During the ranking competition, if he were to meet me, it would be better for him to give up. There are many dark horses in this competition. I'm afraid the ranking competition will be extremely exciting." Dark horse. You, Huang Xiaoyan, and Wu Yaoyue are all strong dark horses. However, apart from you all, there is one more person who is extremely strange. Look. Zi Yunxiang pointed at the first arena. At this moment, there was a red-robed young man in the arena. He was about 20 years old and had an average appearance. So you could not see through his cultivation base. His opponent was none other than Ouyang Yusin, who had achieved Dragon Realm level 5 upper tier. Ouyang Yusin's expression was solemn. No, it was fear. Threads of cold sweat rolled down her neck. Her clear eyes were filled with fear. On the other hand, the red-robed young man stood with his hands behind his back. He wore a faint smile. "Do you want to fight?" Ouyang Yusin's expression trembled slightly, and she clenched her teeth. "Of course." The red-robed young man nodded slightly. "All right." After obtaining the silent agreement of both of them, the referee announced loudly, "The competition officially begins." Ouyang Yusin's beautiful eyes were filled with seriousness, and she took the initiative to attack. Her movement technique was not ordinary, and she quickly approached the red-robed young man. At this moment, the red-robed young man had not even assumed his attacking posture. However, at this moment, the red-robed young man opened his mouth indifferently. "Back off!" There was no sound wave attack in his words. However, Ouyang Yusin, who was about to approach, trembled, her face ghastly pale. Her body could not help but retreat in fear. In the end, she left the arena, her pupils dilated, showing the fear in her heart, as if she had encountered something terrifying. On the main platform, Zi Donglai was shocked. After that, Zi Donglai looked at Han Jianglin, his expression a bit ugly. "Alliance Master Han, don't you find it embarrassing to use such methods?" This person is a genius that you found, right? In order to prevent the flesh regeneration elixir from falling into the hands of outsiders, Han Jianglin would not allow the first place to be taken away by others. Hence, arranging a mysterious strong martial artist in advance was the most suitable method. Han Jianglin wore a faint smile, and he said leisurely, "Housemaster Z, you cannot speak carelessly. Do you have evidence?" Zi Donglai gave a light hum, choosing to endure silently. The whole place was solemn. This person's abilities were unfathomable, shocking everyone. Zi Yunxiang said seriously, "His first battle was exactly the same as this battle. He did not attack at all, and with a sentence, he caused his opponent to retreat in defeat. His abilities are extremely frightening. However, among our peers, is there such a peerless genius?" Zi Yunxiang was shocked. Suyu squinted his eyes, looking at the red-robed young man. For some reason, he gave Suyu an unreal feeling. It was as if there was a mysterious veil around this person. Another mysterious genius. This year's alliance meet was really interesting. After that, Suyu observed the battles between the strong martial artists. Wu Yaoyue attacked twice, and he defeated his opponent with a single move. From start to the end, he did not draw his sword. Lin Aojue's opponent admitted defeat immediately. As for Mr. Fengyu, he defeated his opponent easily as well. The battles of the 10 arenas lasted for a whole day, and they finally came to an end. After Lung Taijian announced the names of the people who had made it to the elimination round, he received a signal from Zi Donglai and Han Jianglin, and he announced loudly, "Congratulations to the contestants. In 3 days, you will participate in the Alliance Meets ranking competition. In these 3 days, I hope that you will adjust your condition and fight for a good ranking." The ranking competition would only start in 3 days? Finally, these few people will stay. Your performances are outstanding, and the Alliance Master will make an exception to meet you once. Of course, your accompanying elders can also come along. Wu Yaoyue, Lin Aojue, Mr. Fengyu, Zi Yunxiang, Yingyu, Huang Xiaoyan, Zhao Wuming, Ouyang Yusin, and Wuming. Wuming was the mysterious red-robed young man. His words caused an uproar in the whole place, and everyone was envious. How great of an honor was it to be summoned by the Alliance Master? Suyu raised his eyebrows. What was Han Jianglin thinking? With vigilance in his heart, Suyu followed the crowd and headed to the Alliance Master's manor under Lin Lungjin's lead. A group of geniuses, along with their family members, were waiting in the courtyard, and it was noisy. The elders who came were all geniuses of the Alliance City, except for Suyu and a few dark horses. It could be seen that the geniuses of the Alliance City were many times better than the geniuses of the other regions. Before meeting the contestants, the Alliance Master would like to meet your elders first, Lin Lingjin said, his eyes glowing brightly as he passed on Han Jianglin's message. Suyu frowned. What was the meaning of meeting the elders first? Looking around secretly, except for the elders of the Feng family and the Lin family, who were expressionless, the rest of the powerhouses were confused. It was obvious that they did not know why the Alliance Master had summoned them. However, the Alliance Master had given his orders. How could these families dare to defy him? The crowd entered the hall, leaving behind the geniuses. "You are Yingyu?" A cold hum could be heard from beside Suyu. Suyu looked over, and his pupils shrank. The person who spoke was Wu Yaoyue, a mysterious and unfathomable genius with a vague, inhuman aura. What made Suyu even more surprised was that Huang Xiaoyan was following behind him respectfully. The two of them knew each other? Thinking about it carefully, the barbaric aura on Huang Xiaoyan seemed to be on Wu Yaoyue as well. The two of them came from the same place. What is it? Hearing that Wu Yaoyue did not come with good intentions, Suyu took precautions secretly. "So, you're the one who injured her?" Wu Yaoyue's tone was cold. Taking a look at Huang Xiaoyan, Suyu had no intention of avoiding the question. He was about to speak. "I do not need a reason from you. I only need to know that it was you." Wu Yaoyue shot him a cold glare. Huang Xiaoyan, who was behind him, had a look of hatred. When had Suyu ever thought of explaining himself? Facing Wu Yaoyue's overbearing attitude, Suyu faced him calmly. And then? Teach me a lesson? If that is the case, let's fight. Unexpectedly, Wu Yaoyue sneered. Even Lin Aojue did not want to fight with you. Do you think that I will be interested in fighting with you? After the alliance meet, I will give you a sword. Remember, Wu Yaoyue said with a cold hum. Red. The naked threat reverberated in the courtyard, attracting glances. Suyu replied calmly, I will be waiting. At that moment, not far away, a faint sneer could be heard. Hey, other people do not want to fight with you. What is the point of pretending to be calm? Suyu turned his head to look. It was Mr. Fengyu. Do you mean that they do not want to fight with you? Suyu asked in return. Mr. Fengyu waved his fan lightly, his expression proud. Do you think that you are qualified to be mentioned in the same breath as me? No matter how weak my abilities are, I am still stronger than you. Mr. Fengyu never had a good attitude towards Suyu. Since you are so strong, why are you bothering a weak person like me? Suyu replied calmly. Why don't you just look for Wu Yaoyue and Lin Aojue? You look down on this and that, but do you know that they look down on you as well? Your Feng family is known as one of the 3 great ancient regions. Could it be that the geniuses that you nurture only gain confidence by showing off in front of the weak? Real strong martial artists advance courageously, endlessly searching for stronger martial artists. They are not like you, who waste time mocking and ridiculing the weak. I feel sorry for your Feng family. The disciples that you nurture are so useless. Mr. Fengyu's expression turned from stiff to gloomy. In the end, it turned icy cold. Watch your mouth. Suyu sneered. You are looking for trouble, mocking others to find a sense of accomplishment. Now that someone has exposed your weakness, you are angry from embarrassment and do not allow the other party to continue speaking. Mr. Fengyu's expression was unpleasant. Slap. Keeping the fan in his hand, Mr. Fengyu's eyes burned with fury. I have tolerated you for a long time. I wanted to teach you a lesson on the arena 3 days later. Now that I think about it, I have been too merciful. Mr. Fengyu was completely furious. In front of absolute abilities, your weak abilities are not enough. So you gave a cold hum. If you want to fight, then let's fight. A bunch of nonsense. Do you want to prove how strong you are? Abilities depend on one's fists, not one's status or one's mouth. Chapter 251. No one can save you. Mr. Fengyu exclaimed angrily. Whoosh! At that moment, Zi Yunxiang suddenly flashed, blocking Suyu's path. Sir Fengyu, what is the meaning of this? Zi Yunxiang's pretty face turned cold. It would have been better if Zi Yunxiang had not stepped forward. However, her action of protecting Suyu caused Mr. Fengyu to burn with jealousy. Get out of the way. Mr. Fengyu hissed through gritted teeth. Zi Yunxiang reprimanded. He is a student of the Xintian manner. If you want to touch him, you have to ask for my opinion first. I don't care about the Xintian manner. I just want him to look good. Mr. Fengyu was so excited that he did not care about the Xintian manner at all. Although these words were spoken in a moment of anger, when they fell into Suyu's ears, they carried a deeper meaning. The Feng family already had the confidence to not fear the Zi family. I won't allow it. Zi Yunxiang's expression was resolute. Mr. Feng, you was already on the verge of exploding with rage. Then I shall offend you. 7 absolutes of mountains and rivers. Mr. Fengyu took a step forward, and suddenly the power of heaven and earth descended. Every step he took seemed to move mountains and rivers in reverse. The mountains and rivers all changed under that stomp. This was a great momentum that only a small success of an immortal level cultivation method could have. As one of the 3 great ancient regions, Sir Feng, you had already cultivated his immortal level cultivation technique to stage 1 initial success. Zi Yunxiang was not afraid at all. Calm waves. Zi Yunxiang made a grabbing motion with her lily-white hands, and the surrounding water vapor suddenly became several times denser. A subtle wave of great power descended upon them as well. At this moment, Zi Yunxiang was like a tranquil and calm lake. It was vast and contained, yet not a single ripple could be seen. Boom! Mr. Fengyu's attack came crashing down. Zi Yunxiang's body rippled, but it was difficult for the attack to get close to her. Water could contain all living things. Zi Yunxiang's immortal level cultivation technique was to absorb the opponent's attack power. His expression changed slightly. Zi Yunxiang had actually broken through to Dragon Realm level 6 upper tier, just like him. Moreover, it was also an immortal level first stage initial success. But the more it was so, the angrier Mr. Feng Yu became. He no longer held anything back. You forced me to do this. Boom! Zi Yunxiang took a step back and let out a muffled groan. The water ripples were unable to dissipate all of the attack's power. After 5 consecutive attacks, Zi Yunxiang finally staggered and retreated several steps. She was defeated. She had just broken through not long ago and could not compare to Mr. Feng Yu, who had been famous for a long time. The crowd of geniuses wore solemn expressions. As expected of the 3 great legendary geniuses, Sir Feng Yu, who is ranked second. His strength is truly terrifying. Among those present, only Lin Aojue, Wu Yaoyue, and Nameless can suppress him. The rest are not his match. Hearing this, a Dragon Realm level 5 genius from the Feng family, Feng Yuelin, revealed a proud expression. Glancing at Su Yu with disdain, Feng Yuelin shook his head in disappointment. This Su Yu is reaping what he sowed. He knew that my big brother is powerful, so why did he have to fight? Isn't it just a little grievance? What kind of man are you if you can't even take this little grievance? Hearing this, the crowd could not help but look at each other. They felt that anyone who dared to talk back to Sir Feng Yu must have the courage to do so. However, in the eyes of the Feng family, he was narrow-minded and could not stand being wronged. It's your turn. Mr. Feng Yu pushed Zi Yunxiang back, his aura magnificent. 7 absolutes of mountain and river. Seeing this, Zi Yunxiang's face changed. Inu, run. Even she was not a match for Sir Feng Yu. If Su Yu was weaker than her, his fate was clear. But not only did Su Yu not run, he faced him head-on. Thunderstar Finger. A purple glow was like a star falling from the heavens, illuminating the heavens. Rumble. Amidst the violent collision, the unexpected commotion caused the expressions of the gloating geniuses to turn rigid. Thud, thud, thud. Sir Feng Yu spat out blood as he flew backward, crashing into the stone wall. His face was filled with pain and shock. His right leg had been charred by the powerful lightning. He could not even take one move from Su Yu. This was the power of Su Yu's Thunderstar Finger, unleashed without restraint. He actually surpassed Sir Feng Yu? When did Inu become so strong? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. At the Yunxiang Cabinet Master's birthday, he was only at the level of Zhao Wuming. How could he have become a legendary genius below Lin Aojue? Sir Feng Yu had defeated Zi Yunxiang, and Su Yu had defeated Sir Feng Yu. This meant that Su Yu had surpassed 2 legendary geniuses, becoming a new generation of legendary geniuses. Su Yu stood at his original position, his gaze drifting over. You are weaker than me. I don't understand where you get your self-esteem from. Hearing this, Sir Feng Yu's face turned red. He was angry and humiliated, but more than that, he was shocked. The crowd of geniuses was shocked, their eyes filled with jealousy. Back then, Su Yu had clearly not been as strong as he was now. But after entering the Xintian Manor, he had improved by leaps and bounds. Humph. So what if you are strong? Feng Yuelin could not believe that the strongest genius of his family could not compare to Su Yu. Su Yu glanced over, calmly saying, "What are you trying to say?" Feng Yuelin was a little afraid, but thinking about it, the elders of the Feng family were in the great hall behind him. What could Su Yu do to him? What am I trying to say? Do you not understand? Feng Yuelin helped Sir Feng Yu up, scolding him with disgust. We are all geniuses of the 100 territories, but you do not know how to unite. Instead, you're overbearing and ruthless. Do you still have any respect for the alliance? Hearing the scolding, Su Yu stood with his arms crossed. If you're not blind, you should have seen that he was the one who caused trouble for me first, right? Feng Yuelin let out an angry grunt. But did he hurt you? It was you who attacked ruthlessly and injured him. He avoided the main point and focused on the trivial, blaming Su Yu instead. Looking at Feng Yuelin, Su Yu did not argue. Instead, whoosh, Su Yu's body glowed with a red glow, his figure traversing the void and arriving in front of Feng Yuan. A fist landed on Feng Yuan's abdomen. Wah! Under the heavy punch, Feng Yuan spat out a mouthful of blood. As he retreated in a fluster, Feng Yuan's face was filled with hatred. You dare injure me? It was one thing for Sir Feng Yu to take a beating. That had been Sir Feng Yu provoking him and challenging him to a battle. But now it was Su Yu who had struck him. Su Yu calmly said, Very angry? Very angry? You want to retaliate? As a man, you can't even take such a small grievance? As a man, you should know when to yield and when to stand tall. You should swallow this resentment and not take revenge. These are your own words. Just now, Feng Yuan had been jumping up and down at the side, and Su Yu had seen it. He had ignored him, but Feng Yuan had become even more aggressive. Is there anyone else who is unconvinced? Su Yu looked around. Anyone who was swept by his gaze retracted their gazes. If he dared to casually beat up a member of the Feng family, what else would he not dare to do? Wu Yaoyue and Lin Aojue's gazes toward Su Yu changed slightly. His abilities surpassed Sir Feng Yu's, and he was close to theirs. Such a person was worthy of them taking action. Bolts of battle intent caused the atmosphere to freeze. At this moment, the doors to the Great Hall opened, and a group of elders walked out. Su Yu sharply observed that these elders had strange expressions. Some looked happy, some uneasy, some worried. In short, all of them looked like they had a lot on their minds. Suddenly, a dignified aura swept over, causing Su Yu to feel exceptionally heavy. A bad feeling welled up in his heart. Ouyang Long's expression was ugly, even a little pale. His eyes flashed with a struggle. With his back facing the Great Hall, Ouyang Long shot a look at Su Yu. His eyes were filled with panic. The Ouyang family master had always been steady, but now he had a panicked expression. In his panic, Ouyang Long's lips moved, sending a message to Su Yu. There were only 2 words in his mouth. Chapter 252. What exactly had happened in the Great Hall? Su Yu was shocked. A deep sense of danger was slowly approaching. His gaze flickered with a hint of struggle. Su Yu decisively retreated without a sound. Aha! Inu, the Alliance Master has invited you. Do you have a problem with the Alliance Master? Lin Lingjian, who had a sinister smile on his face, had circled behind Su Yu, sealing off his path of retreat. Han Jianglin's light laughter could be heard in the Great Hall. Ha! Geniuses of the 100 territories, please enter the Great Hall. A light voice could be heard. A formless aura enveloped the surroundings. So you could feel that if he acted rashly, Han Jianglin could attack him in an instant. Biting his teeth, Su Yu followed the crowd into the Great Hall. Han Jianglin stood with his hands behind his back, his expression warm and amiable. Compared to the cold expression of the Xintian manor, it was a world of difference. The geniuses were all excited, their eyes filled with respect. How could they not be excited to be in such close contact with the legendary figure of the 100 Territories Alliance? You have all performed well, Han Jianglin praised with a smile. I'm very satisfied. The crowd replied excitedly. Alliance Master, you flatter us. Han Jianglin continued. You are all geniuses that the 100 Territories Alliance has painstakingly nurtured over the past 5 years. I do not wish for any of you to suffer any injuries or accidents in the ranking competition in 3 days. Thus, I have decided to accept you into the Xintian Manor in advance to further your studies. Han Jianglin revealed some surprising news. But this news was not particularly enticing. With the abilities of the geniuses present, entering the Xintian Manor was not a problem. At the same time, I have decided to accept some of you as unofficial disciples. Han Jianglin laughed. At once, the geniuses present were in an uproar. Even legendary geniuses like Lin Aojue and Sir Feng Yu had a drastic change in expression. The atmosphere in the Great Hall had suddenly changed. Hurried breathing could be heard. Pairs of sharp gazes intersected, and a tense atmosphere silently descended. Unofficial disciples of the Alliance Master? Such glory, such status, such benefits. How shocking was that? It could be imagined that once they became unofficial disciples, They would be noble fighters above millions of people in the Hundred Territories Alliance. They would receive pointers from the strongest fighters of the Hundred Territories, enjoy the best resources, and obtain great power for their families. Such great benefits caused them to fall into ecstasy. But with their intelligence, how could they not know that not everyone had the right to become unofficial disciples? Only a part of them, a special part of them. Dare I ask, Alliance Master, what are the criteria for accepting an unofficial disciple? Mr. Feng Yu's eyes flashed. Han Jianglin had a look of admiration on his face. The standard is very simple. You must be able to completely listen to my instructions. Only then will you meet my standards as a disciple. Many of the older generation liked obedient disciples who strictly followed their instructions when they accepted disciples. This kind of disciple improved quickly and was loyal. Your disciple is willing to listen to your orders. Sir Feng Yu replied without hesitation. I'm also willing to listen to your orders. Walala, the 10 geniuses present all knelt on the ground. Only Su Yu, Zi Yunxiang, Wu Yaoyue, Huang Xiaoyan, and Nameless did not kneel down. Han Jianglin smiled happily. Good. This child is worth teaching. From today onwards, all of you are my in-name disciples. However, before I formally acknowledge you as my master, I need to give you 2 a test. Han Jianglin changed the topic. Lin Aojue's eyes revealed a fierce look. Alliance leader, please speak. I, Lin Aojue, will definitely complete it. A sneer flashed across Han Jianglin's mouth. The first test is in the competition in 3 days. You must lose to Nameless. Hearing this, everyone was astonished. Was this a predetermined ranking? The geniuses hesitated. They were standing on the stage of the Alliance meet to prove their abilities to the world. Such a predetermined ranking would cause them to lose their honor. However, if they did not agree, they would lose their status as the Alliance leaders' in-name disciples. They naturally understood what was more important after some consideration. Apart from Lin Aojue, who was extremely unwilling, the rest of them silently accepted it. Clenching his teeth, Lin Aojue lifted his head to look at Nameless, his fighting spirit surging. I agree. No matter how arrogant he was, in the face of power, he had to lower his noble head. The group of geniuses completely lowered their heads in the face of temptation. Nameless, who was the mysterious red-robed youth? Why would the Alliance leader make such a huge sacrifice to get him first place, taking in 7 to 8 in-name disciples? Wu Ming had a faint smile at the corners of his mouth. His smile was cold and proud. Apart from Su Yu and the other 4, he had no enemies in the Alliance meet ranking. Nameless is in first place, Lin Aojue is in second place, Mr. Feng Yu is in third place. In a moment, Han Jianglin had determined the rankings of the 8 people. In the competition in 3 days, they only needed to follow this order to determine the victor. The Alliance meet had already ended at this moment. As for the 5 of you, Han Jianglin's gaze swept over them, a cold expression surrounding him. Since you are unwilling to become my in-name disciples, please withdraw from the competition. He had actually forced Su Yu and the rest to withdraw from the competition. Zi Yinxiang's face was red with anger. He had manipulated the Alliance meet in front of her. Did he still care about the Shintian manor? Alliance Master Han, I want my father to know about this. Zi Yinxiang's eyes were filled with determination. Han Jianglin laughed mockingly as he shook his head. Your father? No need, he already knows. After saying this, he swept his gaze toward a certain direction on the roof. Housemaster Z, you have hidden for so long. Is it time for you to come down? Whoosh, a ripple of space could be felt, and a gray-robed figure appeared out of thin air. His expression was calm, but within the calmness was anger, and within the anger was deep worry. After a long time, he sighed. Looks like you do not have many flesh regeneration elixirs left. Han Jianglin had not hesitated to use this method to control the first place. It could be seen that there were very few flesh regeneration elixirs. This made him unwilling to hand them over to outsiders. Thinking back to his heavily injured son, Han Su, the inside story was clear. Han Su's injuries had probably not fully recovered. The flesh regeneration elixir could only save Han Su, not enough to be a prize. For this, Han Jianglin had not hesitated to risk becoming the laughingstock of the world, using despicable methods. Hee, this is all the fault of your good student. Han Jianglin laughed, a laugh that was bone-chillingly cold. The two of them, the Shuntian Manor Master and the 100 Territories Alliance Master, faced each other in the stifling atmosphere of the palace. Zidonglai, who had his back facing them, suddenly said, "Xiang, Yinyu, the two of you retreat immediately. Go as far away as you can." Zi Yunxiang's heart skipped a beat, hurriedly asking, "Father, what does this mean? Don't ask too many questions. Go quickly." Zidonglai turned around, and Zi Yunxiang realized that her father's eyes were filled with sorrow and despair. It was despair that would never return. It was despair that had been prepared for a long time. It was despair that had disregarded life and death. Father. Zi Yunxiang could feel her father's death intent. Her heart trembled, and she ran over to ask with tears in her eyes. However, her arm was grabbed by a strong and large hand. A voice that caused even the air to become heavy slowly drifted over. The sky is about to change. Chapter 253. The secret discussion in the palace, the calmness of the Lin and Feng families, and the terror of the Ouyang families, all hinted at a huge change brewing. At this moment, Han Jianglin ignored Zi Donglai's presence, manipulating the competition. Intuition told Su Yu that the world was about to change. Han Jianglin's gaze was cold, his expression cold. Zidonglai, you have controlled the Shuntian Manor for many years, constantly opposing the alliance and destroying its unity. Now that the enemy is before us, I, the Alliance Master, will gather the strength of the 100 Territories and officially announce that you are stripped of your right to become the Shuntian Manor Master. His words were earth-shattering. Even though they were still young, they suddenly sensed that a bloody storm was coming. The world of the 100 Territories Alliance was about to change. Zidonglai laughed. You also know that the enemy is before us. You do not care about the safety of the 100 Territories. You only care about power. You know that the enemy is before us, but you do not work hard to unite the forces of the world. Instead, you fight for power. If the 100 Territories are destroyed, you, Han Jianglin, will be the greatest sinner of all time. Zidonglai roared. His voice reverberated, turning into a violent air current that shot into the clouds. The surrounding geniuses were all shocked by the powerful aura retreating. A huge battle was about to begin. Han Jianglin shouted, "We must first stabilize the internal situation before dealing with external threats. Punishing you is the best way to save the 100 Territories. Zidonglai, on account of our many years together, cripple your own cultivation base and accept punishment from the Alliance. I will be magnanimous and let you and your daughter live. If you continue to be stubborn, I will put justice before family for the sake of the Alliance." His murderous words swept through the surroundings. Zidonglai laughed mockingly. What magnanimity! What righteousness before family! Taking away the power of the Z family and killing my father and daughter. Is this your so-called magnanimity? I, Zidonglai, was born standing, and I will die standing. If you want to destroy me, you must first pay the price. Creak! A formless energy shot out from the two of them, clashing in the air with the sound of destruction. Shreds of destructive aura caused the geniuses present to shudder. At this point, a great battle was unavoidable. Yinyu. Zidonglai turned back, his deep eyes filled with apology. I had wanted to pass on everything I had learned to you. I hope that you would take good care of Xiang'er for my sake. Unfortunately, time waits for no one. I don't have much time left, and I don't have the time to pass on my mantle to you. Zidonglai's face was filled with shame, and he pleaded, Can you take good care of Xiang'er since I don't have long to live? She's the only family I have in my life, Su Yu was shocked. Zidonglai had a premonition that this day would come. He was already prepared to die. Su Yu did not hesitate. He nodded and replied, All right, as long as I, Su Yu, am alive. She will not die. He was indebted to Zedong Lai for recognizing his worth. Zedong Lai was even willing to offend Han Jianglin in order to protect him. Su Yu owed him a debt of gratitude, so he had to repay it. Thank you. Zedong Lai revealed a smile, completely relieved. He let out a deep sigh. This way, I have no more regrets. A sharp glint suddenly shot out from his eyes. Han Jianglin, our battle has been delayed for too long. Today, we shall put an end to this. And it? You're seriously injured, yet you still want to fight me? Han Jianglin snorted. Come out. Thump, thump, thump. The doors of the palace were blasted open. A dozen strong fighters entered, surrounding Zedong Lai, Su Yu, and Zi Yunxiang. The Lin family, the Feng family, the Zheng family. Within the Alliance City, the top families had all submitted. Kill. Leave no one alive. Han Jianglin stood with his hands behind his back. He had no intention of attacking. The fighters from the dozens of families hesitated for a moment, then clenched their teeth and attacked. Zedong Lai let out an angry laugh. What benefits did they give you for all of you to submit to them? Hearing this, the group of strong fighters wore ashamed expressions. Lin Lingjian clenched his teeth, letting out a cold grunt. What benefits? Impudent people like you deserve to be punished. It was obvious that he was hiding something. Zedong Lai let out a sigh. I understand. Since that is the case, I have no choice but to attack. Everyone's expressions turned cold. How could they not be afraid of the legendary figures of the 100 Territories Alliance? Lin Lingjian forced himself to remain calm, letting out a stern grunt. Everyone attacked together. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 10 strong fighters attacked at the same time. One strong fighter of the immortal realm could become an overlord, much less a dozen of them. Just their aura alone was enough to make people shudder. Standing in the middle of the encirclement, Zedong Lai's expression was indifferent. With his hands behind his back, he shouted coldly, "Purple energy from the east." With a loud roar, a boundless power of the universe descended with a loud rumble. The universe turned purple in an instant. An endless amount of purple energy surged forth like a furious wave that could destroy the world. Rumble, bang, bang, a shocking scene appeared. With a simple attack, the attacks of 10 strong fighters of the immortal realm were easily neutralized. The fighters themselves were all sent flying, spitting out blood. There were many who were seriously injured. 1 person against 10. Even the strongest fighters of the Alliance City could not withstand one attack from Zedong Lai. This was the legend of a martial artist. Han Jianglin squinted his eyes. Looks like your injuries have recovered significantly. Han Jianglin put down his hands, took a step forward, and sighed coldly. Let me do it. Han Jianglin's sleeves shook slightly, and a bone whip landed in his hands. Back then, your purple energy from the east was no match for my white bone spiritual whip. I wonder if you have improved. Han Jianglin's eyes were cold. With a flip of his wrist, a pale white light flashed across the sky like lightning. Zedong Lai's expression turned serious, the purple energy around him rumbling. Crackle! A deafening sound pierced the air. Everyone present could not see the strangeness of the two's attacks. Thud! Thud! With a groan, Zedong Lai took 2 steps back, a trickle of blood seeping from the corner of his mouth. On his body, there was a deep wound. On the other hand, Han Jianglin was calm and composed, a mocking expression on his face. You have improved, but you are seriously injured. Do you think you can fight me? Crackle! With another flip of his wrist, the bone whip struck out. The 2 of them tangled. With every attack, Zedong Lai would suffer an injury. He was completely suppressed. Just SOSO. Han Jianglin let out a cold laugh, his attacks becoming fiercer. The situation was lost. Zedong Lai had no chance of winning. Inyu, Xiang'er, run quickly. Zedong Lai's eyes were filled with sorrow and despair, letting out a low roar. Zi Yunxiang's body trembled, her eyes reflecting the figure of her father spitting blood. She struggled to break free from Su Yu, letting out a painful roar. Her once tranquil and elegant face had been replaced by tears that rolled down her cheeks. Her once clear eyes were now filled with sorrow, anger, and hatred. The Yunxiang cabinet master, once a genius, was now a helpless girl. Suyu closed his eyes, clenching his fists. Was fame really so important? For one's own selfishness, for power, for one's inner desires, he would destroy a person, a family? A wave of grief and anger burned in Suyu's chest. His blood was boiling, his heart was roaring, and his soul was trembling. Suyu felt like he was about to explode. Han Jianglin's cold gaze swept past Suyu, shooting toward Lin Aojue and the rest. I'll give you a second test. Kill. You. The expressions of Lin Aojue and the other geniuses turned cold. Mr. Feng, you could not help but laugh maniacally. Ha ha! Karma. Suyu, to think you would have such a day. So what if you won? In front of experts like us, you are nothing. Other than Wu Yaoyue, Huang Xiaoyan, and Ouyang Yusin, who had not attacked, the rest of the geniuses were filled with killing intent. Lin Aojue, Mr. Feng Yu, Zhao Wuming, Feng Yuelin, and Tan Duanfei were familiar faces, their expressions filled with hatred. Mr. Feng Yu let out a cold grunt. Let go of your dirty hands. Zi Yunxiang is my woman. With Zi Donglai dead, Zi Yunxiang would lose her protection. There would be no more obstacles if he wanted to dominate her. Seeing that Suyu was unmoved, Mr. Feng Yu looked around. Everyone attacked together. You colluded with Zi Donglai to overthrow the 100 Territories Alliance. Such a traitor deserves to be punished. Other than Ouyang Yusin, who had yet to nod, the rest of the geniuses had ferocious expressions. Lin Aojue creased his brows. I'll make an exception this time. I'll dirty my hands and kill you personally. He was the leader of the group. If he attacked, he would not be afraid of Suyu. The rest of the people let go of their worries, revealing their killing intent. Looking at the greedy, murderous, and cruel eyes, Suyu's heart turned cold. This was the so-called genius? Inhumane, merciless, and shameless. Sensing that the 8 of them were attacking together, Suyu closed his eyes, his body filled with an icy aura. He said coldly, I've made up my mind. Before I leave, I'll kill all of you. Ha ha! In front of us, who do you think you are? Killing you is like slaughtering a dog. Mr. Feng, you let out a long laugh. His handsome face was filled with ferocity. Zhao Wuming, Feng Yuelin, and Tan Duanfei had expressions of fear. But with Lin Aojue attacking, the hatred from the past welled up in their hearts. Inyu, today is your doomsday. The 2 of them shouted in unison. What answered him was Suyu slowly opening his eyes. 1 purple and 1 red appeared eerily. Time acceleration. An ice-cold voice sounded majestically. With his blood boiling, the time around Suyu increased by 3 times. Everything around him seemed to have entered a slow river of time. Mr. Feng Yu's ferocious expression changed at a slow pace. Whoosh! In the eyes of an outsider, Suyu's speed had doubled. Combined with the icy divine wings, his movement technique had increased explosively. The crowd only saw a blur before Suyu disappeared from their eyes. By the time they noticed him, Suyu had already arrived in front of Tan Duanfei. Thunderstar Finger. Kill. Rumble. Tan Duanfei's head was blasted into smithereens without even a scream. A headless body, blood splattering everywhere. Thunderstar Finger. Kill. Zhao Wuming did not even have time to react. His head was also blasted into smithereens. The second person killed. Thunderstar Finger. Kill. Feng Yuelin's eyes were filled with fear. His heart had been blasted into smithereens. The third person killed. A breath's time was up. All the geniuses sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Lin Aojue's cold and arrogant expression instantly turned serious. Even an ordinary Immortal Realm fighter could not compare to that level of movement technique. Mr. Feng Yu's ferocious smile turned rigid. Looking at Suyu's cold, murderous gaze, his heart trembled. At this moment, the shadow of death loomed over him for the first time in his life. Chapter 254. But at that moment, he finally experienced the fear of death. Father, save me quickly. As he screamed, Mr. Feng Yu hesitated no longer, turning to flee. In his mind, he no longer had the desire to kill Su Yu or the desire to possess Zi Yunxiang. There was only escape. Thunderstar finger. Kill. The fourth person was killed. Without a pathetic cry, Mr. Feng Yu's head was blasted into pieces. In 2 breaths, he had killed 4 geniuses. More than half of the 8 unofficial disciples had been killed. Ouyang Yusin felt her scalp go numb. Just how strong was he? Fresh blood splattered all over Lin Aojue's face. For the first time, Lin Aojue, who looked down on the world and regarded everyone as beneath his notice, felt fear and trembled. But as strong as he was, he refused to admit defeat. You. Enough. Lin Aojue's eyes were filled with thick, killing intent. The aura of a Dragon Realm level 6 peak surged. Su Yu's expression was cold, his silent killing intent locked onto Lin Aojue. In the past, in Lin Aojue's eyes, Su Yu had found it dirty to be in the same room and arena as him. But now, he finally treated Su Yu seriously. Humph, you don't know your place. I can kill you with 1 move, Lin Aojue said coldly. Seal of time, Su Yu said apathetically. A formless purple dragon coiled around Lin Aojue. His soul was still there, but his body had been frozen in time and space. And at that moment, Su Yu was within reach. Lin Aojue was shocked, his heart trembling violently. The illusion of death had never been so vivid. Thunderstar finger. Kill. Rumble, but at that moment, a green-robed figure descended. Little bastard. That's enough. Lin Lingjian's face was filled with killing intent, his eyes filled with shock. He struck out with his palm, neutralizing Su Yu's attack. Su Yu withdrew his Thunderstar finger at the last moment, retreating as he looked over coldly. Feng Yu. A sorrowful roar could be heard. The Feng family's grandmaster pounced forward, picking up Mr. Feng Yu, whose head had been blasted into pieces. I'll kill you. The Feng family's grandmaster raised his head, his eyes filled with blood. At that moment, the rest of the powerful fighters recovered from the attack of the east-rising purple energy. Looking at the corpses on the ground and the fresh blood, they could not help but gasp. What a terrifying youth. More than half of the top geniuses in the Alliance City had been killed by him. If Lin Lingjian had not stopped him, the geniuses of the Alliance City would have all been wiped out by him. He had single-handedly annihilated the Alliance City's current generation's pride. Just who was this ferocious genius? Zheng Nantian looked at the corpses on the ground, and the scene of Zheng Shunbao being killed appeared in his mind. The resentment that had been brewing in his heart for a long time erupted at this moment. Inyu, you little punk, you kill my son. I will tear you into 1,000 pieces. With a roar, Zheng Nantian leapt into the air, his killing intent surging. Lin Lingjian, the Feng family's grandmaster, and Zheng Nantian, the 3 strong martial artists of the immortal realm, surrounded Su Yu in the middle. No one could believe the scene before their eyes. A mere Dragon Realm Level 5 junior needed 3 Immortal Realm Elders to join forces to kill him. Evil creature, look at what you've done. The murderous intent in Lin Lingjian's heart grew even stronger as he looked around at the bloody ground. This kid was too terrifying. His potential was terrifying. Moreover, he was vicious and merciless. If they were not eliminated as soon as possible, it would be a disaster sooner or later. Hearing this, Su Yu let out a cold smile. His smile was a little ferocious. Is there anything wrong with that? Their abilities were not good enough, and they could not kill me. Instead, they were killed by me. Lin Lingjian let out a furious roar. Insolence! You are so young, yet you are so vicious. Did they harm a single hair on your body? Why did you want to kill them? Hearing this, Su Yu let out a long laugh. If I'd been killed by them, would I have deserved to die? Would I be considered vicious for killing them? When they attacked, why did you not say that they were vicious? Would have been considered kind if I had stood still and allowed myself to be killed by them? Old thing, do you still have any shame? Lin Lingjian was speechless. He could only shoot a pair of furious eyes towards Su Yu. The Feng family's grandmaster had long lost his rationality. His eyes were bloodshot. The two juniors with the greatest potential in the Foam family had been killed by Su Yu. The loss was too great to bear. You are lying. You are cruel and bloodthirsty. Little bastard, I cannot let you live. The Foam family's grandmaster's voice was bone-piercingly cold. Zheng Nantian could no longer suppress his murderous intent. Do you see that? Everyone wants to kill you. It can be seen that you have sinned deeply. You deserve this. Lin Lingjian let out a cold grunt. Do not waste your breath on him. Everyone has the right to kill him. Attack him together. Do not give him a chance to escape. It was no longer a secret that Yu had the innate space talent. If Su Yu was given the chance to use it, he might escape again. But the scene of Su Yu escaping in a hurry did not happen. Instead, he stood at his original position, not moving an inch. The only thing that changed was his eyes, which were filled with even more murderous intent. Escape? Why should I escape? So you said coldly. Everyone wants to kill me. Then, I will kill all of you one by one. Since you say that I am vicious, that I am cruel and merciless, that I have sinned deeply, then I will show you how vicious and merciless I am. Su Yu's eyes were filled with murderous intents. Lin Lingjian could not stop laughing. Could it be that you have been driven crazy? To think that you could say such ignorant and arrogant words. The Feng family's grandmaster and Zheng Nantian were already impatient. Why are you talking to him? Attack, kill. Rumble, the aura of the immortal realm surged. The three of them each guarded a direction to prevent Su Yu from escaping. Kill. The encirclement of the three people set off a violent gale that swept in all directions. Su Yu was in the middle of the strong waves, and he was like a small boat in the middle of a huge wave that was about to be destroyed. However, Su Yu was not afraid. His ice-cold eyes were filled with absolute murderous intents. Su Yu opened his mouth and took a deep breath. In an instant, a shocking change occurred. The heaven and earth spiritual chi suddenly became violent. It was as if the spirit energy within a mile had been summoned. It rushed over and gathered above Su Yu's head. As he inhaled, the air rushed into his mouth. Bang, bang, bang. It was as if thunder was rumbling, and Su Yu's mouth was filled with the sound of exploding thunder. Waves of destructive power continued to brew. A dangerous aura encircled Su Yu's body. The danger was so great that the hearts of Lin Lingjian and the other two shrank before they could react. The danger of death suddenly enveloped them. Han Jianglin, who was laughing coldly and suppressing Zi Donglai, suddenly had a change of expression. He looked over and asked, "What happened?" Zidong had a shocked expression. What cultivation technique is this? Even with their eyesight, they could not determine the level of the cultivation technique that Su Yu had learned. A legendary level cultivation technique. Even they would not have dared to imagine it. Lin Lingjian's heart was beating wildly. He forcefully stopped his palm that was about to attack Su Yu. He retreated without hesitation and shouted, "Retreat quickly! Danger!" Even without his reminder, the Feng family grandmaster was already retreating. What is going on with this lad? The Feng family grandmaster's eyelids were twitching wildly. He felt a life-or-death crisis. Only Zheng Nantian, who was the closest to Su Yu and was about to shatter Su Yu's head with a finger, retreated unwillingly. He gritted his teeth and shouted, pretending to be mysterious, "I'll kill you first." However, at that moment, Su Yu's tightly shut mouth opened abruptly. "Lin, kill." He opened his mouth and uttered the word Lin. Once the word was uttered, the space trembled and heaven and earth roared. It was as if this syllable had shaken the heavens and the earth, and it was in harmony with the formless great path. A primitive feeling that could split the heavens and the earth surged forth. At that moment, apart from Zidong Lai and Han Jianglin, everyone felt their souls tremble. A dull thud followed closely after the word Lin was uttered. Everyone looked over and gasped, their scalps turning numb. Zheng Nantian, who was close to Su Yu, had exploded on the spot, turning into minced meat. He did not even have time to dodge, let out a pathetic cry, or make a pained expression before he turned into flesh and blood. Many people were caught off guard, and their faces were sprayed with warm blood. It was as if they were in a dream. It was difficult for them to wake up from this nightmarish scene. A strong martial artist of the immortal realm had been killed with a single word. The fifth person had been killed. Zedong was stunned for a moment, then laughed heartily. Haha, good kill. Su Yu's power had exceeded his expectations. Han Jianglin's face was filled with murderous intent. Junior, you're asking for death. Humph. If he does not kill, he will not die. Your opponent is me. Zedong Lai laughed out loud, and once again started fighting with Han Jianglin. The Feng family grandmaster and Lin Lingjian, who had escaped by a hair's breadth, gasped. Especially the Feng family grandmaster, whose limbs were ice cold. Zheng Nantian was dead, their scalps turning numb. The Feng family grandmaster and Lin Lingjian did not say another word, turning to escape. Yes, he had to escape from the hands of a Dragon Realm Level 5 junior. Su Yu's eyes were filled with monstrous, murderous intent. You want to escape now? It's too late. Whoosh! Su Yu's movement technique was not weaker than an Immortal Realm Level 1. In the blink of an eye, he had caught up to the Feng family grandmaster. The Feng family grandmaster turned his head to look, and Su Yu's face was inches away. His eyes, one purple and one red, were filled with cold, murderous intent. The Feng family grandmaster's face was as red as a pig's liver, his feet cold. Let's talk. The Feng family grandmaster's voice was trembling, and he was terrified. Su Yu's expression was cold, his voice hoarse, like the rustling of tree branches. When you killed me, did you have anything to talk about? Why should I give you a chance? Taking a deep breath, Su Yu once again used Buddhist saints' 8 characters. Lin, kill, rumble. The sound of destruction blasted toward the Feng family grandmaster. No! Ah! With a horrible shriek, the Feng family grandmaster's body exploded into pieces. The 6th person destroyed. Unlike Zheng Nantian, only the Feng family grandmaster's torso had exploded into pieces. Other than the fact that the Feng family grandmaster's cultivation level had reached Immortal Realm Level 1 upper tier, the power of Su Yu's attack was much weaker than the previous one. If one observed carefully, they would realize that Su Yu's body was overflowing with a layer of fresh blood, soaking his white moon ice spiritual robe. He looked like a man of blood. At his current cultivation level, forcefully using Buddhist saints' 8 characters would injure himself by 1,000 times. A few of the energy channels in his body had been broken, and his internal organs had suffered varying degrees of injuries. But there was still one person who had not died. This scene was reflected in Lin Lingjian's eyes, causing him to feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. At this moment, he was filled with regret and hatred. Why did he have to provoke Su Yu again and again? Initially, Su Yu and the Lin family had no grudges. It was Lin Lingjian who had been overbearing until today. Chapter 255. There is only fear from the depths of his soul. Inyu, don't you remember what you owe the Lin family? As Lin Lingjian escaped, he tried to think of an excuse. As Su Yu spoke, his voice became even more hoarse. It was as if a gust of wind had blown through a torn pocket. It was ear-piercing and unpleasant to hear. I've already repaid your kindness. Borrowing the 9-Cloud Tower was Lin Yunhe's favor. Moreover, Lin Hong had already returned the favor with that palm strike that day. Lin, die! Rumble. The terrifying sound of thunder shook the air. Lin Lingjian's face was filled with fear, letting out a piercing scream. No! Thump! His figure turned into a parabola, crashing heavily into the wall. A large crack appeared on the hard wall. Lin Lingjian's back was lacerated, blood splattering everywhere, dyeing the wall red. But this attack did not take his life. It only injured him so severely that he could not move. He still had a breath left in him. The power of Buddhist saints' 8 characters had been reduced to its weakest. Cracks appeared on Su Yu's body, fresh blood gushing out like a fountain. His body was about to completely break apart. Using Buddhist saints' 8 characters 3 times was Su Yu's limit. Han Jianglin was shocked and furious. Half of the 8 unofficial disciples he had taken in had been killed. The faction he had taken in, the Zheng family master, had been killed. The Feng family master had been killed. Lin Lingjian was half dead. Junior, die. Han Jianglin was extremely embarrassed and furious. He had never thought that an ant-like thing could cause him to suffer losses. But Suyu had done it. Not only had he suffered losses, but he had paid a terrible price. Whoosh! Suyu turned a deaf ear to him and flew toward Lin Lingjian. Seeing this, Han Jianglin flew into a rage. You dare to touch him? Puff! Before Lin Lingjian could finish his sentence, Suyu stepped on Lin Lingjian's head. Under Lin Lingjian's fearful gaze, Suyu crushed his head. The seventh person had been killed. At this moment, Suyu turned his head, letting out a cold laugh. His voice was hoarse like the howl of a ghost. You were the one who asked me to try. The Feng family master and the Lin family's great elder of two of the three great ancient region families had been killed. Such a shocking scene caused all the elders of the families present to be shocked. They would never forget this scene for the rest of their lives. A mysterious silver-haired youth had single-handedly slaughtered the strongest experts of two great ancient domain clans. All the geniuses of the Alliance City had been slaughtered, and only Lin Aojue was left. This kind of tragedy, this kind of ruthlessness, this kind of blood, they would never be able to forget. Han Jianglin was so angry that he was trembling all over. The prestige of the Alliance Master had been completely swept away. You, serve you right. Die. Han Jianglin gritted his teeth and spat out 3 words filled with monstrous killing intent. Scram! Han Jianglin roared and pushed Zi Donglai away. Zi Donglai's expression changed. Inyu, run. Suyu's gaze was cold. With a flash of his figure, he flew to Zi Yunxiang's side and grabbed her arm. Space control. Suyu shouted in a low voice, while his wine-red right eye shone with a brilliant light. An astonishing spatial fluctuation enveloped the two of them. They were about to teleport away, and Han Jianglin was still unable to catch up to them. If there were no accidents, he would be able to escape once he reached the outside world. However, at this moment, the red-robed young man, Nameless, who had been watching coldly from the side, had a hint of mockery flash across his lips. Did you ask for my opinion before leaving? Creak! The red-robed young man suddenly attacked. He attacked Suyu and Zi Yunxiang with a palm. This palm contained the majestic power of heaven and earth. The space energy around Suyu was disrupted. The teleportation that was about to be completed was destroyed. Falling out of the space teleportation, Suyu's expression changed. He shot a cold, killing intent toward Nameless. He had no feud with Nameless, but Nameless had launched a sneak attack at the most critical moment. However, Suyu had no time to think. Nameless' attack was already upon him. Because of the angle, the attack was aimed at Zi Yunxiang's vital spot. Not good. Not only would Zi Yunxiang be killed by this move, but he would also not be able to escape death. At this critical moment, Suyu's expression was resolute. Taking another deep breath, Suyu's expression was one of pain. He had long circulated Buddhist saints' 8 characters to its limits. However, he could only give a try. Bearing the pain, Suyu slowly opened his mouth, displaying Buddhist saints' 8 characters for the last time. Lin, rumble, Nameless' expression changed. He hurriedly retracted his palm, his movement technique retreating like lightning. In the end, he was only grazed by a sliver of the attack. With a grunt, he was unharmed. Suyu's attack had only managed to force his opponent to retreat. Even though he had successfully saved his and Zi Yunxiang's lives, many parts of Suyu's body had exploded. The energy channels in his body had ruptured, and his organs had all turned into minced meat. Other than his icy heart core, which was unharmed, the rest of his organs had suffered devastating damage. Even if he did not die, he was not far from death. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Suyu's vision gradually darkened. He slumped weakly into Zi Yunxiang's embrace. However, Han Jianglin had already attacked. His icy cold gaze was like 2 sharp arrows. Han Jianglin pointed a finger at Suyu, intending to kill him and Zi Yunxiang at the same time. Seeing this, Zi Donglai's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. Xianga, Inyu. With a loud roar, Zi Donglai's body was suddenly covered in a ball of red light. His movement technique suddenly increased exponentially. He actually managed to rush over before Han Jianglin, blocking in front of them. Pu! Han Jianglin's finger mercilessly pointed at Zi Donglai's back. Zi Donglai spat out a mouthful of blood, spraying it all over Su Yu's face. The warm sensation was like boiling oil, causing Su Yu to wake up from his unconsciousness. Looking at Han Jianglin, whose mouth was filled with blood and whose face was pale, Su Yu's heart trembled violently. This scene was familiar. Zi Donglai had endured a huge force flying over. His mouth was filled with blood, but he wore a pathetic smile. He wore a helpless expression, grief and anger, his voice trembling. Creak! The energy of a finger pierced through once again, heading straight for Zi Donglai's back. Han Jianglin had seized the opportunity to kill Zi Donglai. The three of them had nowhere to run. Su Yu had lost his space teleportation, and Zi Donglai was heavily injured, unable to fend for himself. No one could save them. With a pathetic smile, Zi Donglai pointed at Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang's necks. More accurately, it was pointed at the jade pendant on Su Yu's neck. It was half of the Tai Chi fish of the Tai Chi diagram. It was the item that Zi Donglai had given him when they first met. Su Yu did not know what it meant, and had hung it around his neck until now. Now, it had been pointed at by Zi Donglai. Crack! A cracking sound could be heard from the jade pendant, and a crack appeared on the Tai Chi fish. A cracking sound could be heard from Zi Yunxiang's neck as well. A shocking scene ensued. Within the crack on the Tai Chi fish, a gush of space energy appeared, enveloping Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang. Zi Donglai's gaze landed on Su Yu, gratified and pleading. He let out a bleak laugh. Please, help me take care of Xiang. That bleak laugh, that request before he died, that gratification and pleading caused Su Yu's heart to tremble. He was too familiar with this scene. Shenyue Island, Duke of Xinyu's palace. That day, during the crisis, it was the Duke of Xinyu who had suffered a fatal blow. At the brink of death, he had entrusted Xiener to Su Yu. How similar was this scene? He and Zi Donglai had met by chance, but Zi Donglai had passed on his legacy, gifted his beloved daughter to him, and used his life to protect him. At this moment, Su Yu's heart was moved, a warm feeling coursing through him. The power of space surged, transporting Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang completely. The last thing they saw was the merciless energy piercing through Zi Donglai. A handful of blood splattered from Zi Donglai's mouth, spraying into the sky and dyeing the clouds red. His eyes were filled with relief, gratification, and satisfaction as he slowly closed them. This was the last scene Su Yu saw, the last scene of Zi Donglai, who had shown him kindness. How similar was this scene to the Duke of Xinyu? They were both useless, helpless, and could only watch as the person he respected died in front of him. A wave of grief, a wave of self-blame, and a wave of unwillingness mixed into a raging inferno, engulfing Su Yu. Was he going to watch the tragedy happen again? Was he going to be powerless to save everything? No. He had once sworn that he would not allow something like this to happen again. At this moment, Su Yu's soul was unprecedentedly agitated. It was more intense than it had ever been before. Buzz, 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 the divine nine-dragon cauldron, which had occupied his soul for so long, shook violently. 3 drops of red liquid dripped down. 10 inches. With a rumble, 3/10 of the cauldron had been baptized into crystals. These 3 drops would completely crystallize the cauldron. At this moment, the space transportation was complete. Su Yu used the last of his strength, letting out a furious roar. Space! Space! Vortex! Vortex! Creak! Distorted space suddenly descended around Zi Donglai's body. Su Yu did not have time to observe before he was transported away by the Tai Chi fish. Han Jianglin's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. He actually escaped. But what made him even more furious was that after Su Yu was transported away, Zi Donglai had also been taken away by the space vortex, sucked into an unknown land. Whoosh! When he charged over, the 3 of them had all disappeared. Looking around, other than the ground littered with corpses, There were only the pale faces of the geniuses and the masters of the various families left. Han Jianglin was furious, unprecedentedly furious. He had meticulously planned this to kill Zidonglai. But not only did he not kill Zidonglai, but he had also been killed by a nobody. The geniuses that he had taken in had all been slaughtered, and the 3 strongest fighters that he had taken in had been killed on the spot. Other than severely injuring Zidonglai, he had gained nothing. Instead, he had paid a terrible price. The space energy is not strong. They have not been transported out of the Alliance city. Chase them. Search the entire city. Kill anyone found. Han Jianglin's expression was gloomy, so gloomy that it looked like water was about to drip out. The group of strong fighters from the various families trembled in fear. This was the first time in 100 years that the Alliance Master had been so furious. But they could understand the Alliance Master's anger. If they were in his shoes, they would also be furious. They had thought that they had a high chance of success, but they had paid a terrible price and still failed to achieve their goals. Hence, while the Alliance City appeared to be immersed in the excitement of the Alliance meet, in secret, a storm was brewing. What had happened here was strictly kept secret, and no one was allowed to leak it. The mission to hunt down Su Yu and the others was carried out secretly by the various families. On the way back, Ouyang Long was still immersed in his shock. Ouyang Yusin, who was behind him, also had a hard time recovering from the unforgettable scene. The geniuses of the Alliance had been slaughtered. The strongest fighters of the 2 ancient region families had been killed. The Zheng family master, who was on equal footing with Ouyang Long, had also been killed. Chapter 256. Father, after a moment, Ouyang Yusin came to her senses and asked them what they should do. Ouyang Yusin felt deep regret towards Suyu. Such a peerless genius was actually abandoned by her. She had spent her entire life looking for a strong man to cling to, a man who was worthy of her. Who would have thought that there was a man who she needed to climb up the social ladder with right in front of her? But for Mr. Fengyu, she had treated him as a stranger and given him up. How ironic was that? Ouyang Long walked quickly, sighing after a while. Inyu has been kind to us. The Ouyang family cannot be ungrateful. But on the surface, we should still send people out to search. When they had been summoned by Han Jianglin to the palace for a discussion, they had discussed joining forces to attack Zidonglai. The Lin and Feng families had agreed first. With the 2 ancient region families before them, how could a small family like them dare to go against them? If they had gone against Han Jianglin's will, Ouyang Long would not have been able to leave alive. They had only agreed as a stopgap measure. Ouyang Yusin was distracted. Regardless of whether we can find them, the Alliance City will change from now on. The Z family would be eliminated, and only Han Jianglin's family would be left. Not only will the Alliance City change, the entire northern continent will change, Ouyang Long said worriedly. The reason why the Lin and Feng clans had agreed so quickly was because Han Jianglin had given them, as well as the other clans, an irresistible temptation. Even Ouyang Long had found it hard to resist. The 2 of them hurried back to the family. The juniors of the Ouyang family were leisurely sparring, unaware that a bloody storm had just swept through the Alliance City. They also did not know that the Alliance City had changed. But at that moment, the Ouyang family housekeeper walked over with a nervous expression. "Master, something has happened in the backyard," he said softly. Ouyang Long creased his brows and said calmly, "Lead the way." When they arrived at the backyard, they discovered that the edge of a dry well was dripping with fresh blood. This is... Ouyang Long's gaze turned serious. He scanned the area and discovered that the blood led to the dry well. His expression turned serious. "All of you retreat." Ouyang Yusin also noticed the abnormality. Her expression changed. Could it be that someone from the Ouyang family was killed and thrown into the well? Ouyang Long approached the well warily. He turned to look at the bottom, and his expression changed instantly. At the bottom of the well, a woman was hugging a man who was covered in blood. They were curled up at the bottom of the well. Sensing that she had been discovered, the woman's face was filled with sorrow. "It's you guys!" Ouyang Long was shocked. They were none other than Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang, who had escaped through space transportation. It was as if the teleportation didn't have a fixed destination. In the blink of an eye, it teleported to the Ouyang clan. In a moment of desperation, Zi Yunxiang brought along the heavily injured Su Yu and hid in the dry well. Ouyang Long's eyes were filled with pity as he looked at Zi Yunxiang, who was in a sorry state. A day ago, she was still the high and mighty Yunxiang cabinet master. Now, she had been reduced to such a state. A trace of struggle flashed in Ouyang Long's eyes. He turned his head and asked, "Housekeeper, who else knows about this matter?" Butler Ouyang's old eyes flashed slightly. "There is no one else besides me." Ouyang Long nodded. "If that's the case, then, I'll have to trouble the housekeeper for some time." Whoosh! Before the steward could react, he was knocked out by Ouyang Long. "Father, what are you doing?" Ouyang Yusin was shocked. "Quick, prepare the secret chamber." Ouyang Long jumped into the dry well. To prevent any accidents, he knocked Zi Yunxiang out as well, then brought the two of them out of the dry well and into the secret chamber. No one noticed the actions of this father and daughter pair. In the secret chamber, Ouyang Yusin's eyes were wide open. She could not believe that they had been transported to the Ouyang clan. Thinking about this, Ouyang Yusin understood the stakes. If outsiders found out that the Ouyang clan had taken an Yin and Zi Yunxiang, the clan would be exterminated. At this moment, Ouyang Long was inspecting the two's injuries. Zi Yunxiang was just too shocked. Ouyang Long said, his expression grave, "Her body is fine, but Sir Yin, he's no different from a dead person." Ouyang Yusin looked at Su Yu. His body was covered in blood, and many parts of his body had ruptured. External injuries can only be considered serious injuries, but internal injuries are fatal. Ouyang Long sighed. His organs were destroyed, and his energy channels were severed. It must have been caused by that powerful sound wave cultivation technique. Only his heart is intact, but without his organs, even with his heart, it would be difficult for him to live for more than an hour. As he spoke, Su Yu's aura weakened. He was only an hour away from becoming a corpse. From the start of his cultivation until now, this was the first time Su Yu had been so seriously injured. Ouyang Yusin's heart trembled. He's going to die? For some reason, Ouyang Yusin heaved a sigh of relief. Even though she felt that it was a pity, if Su Yu was no longer in this world, the regret in her heart would lessen. Otherwise, she would always be filled with regret. But luckily, he appeared at the Ouyang clan in time. Ouyang Long said, "Perhaps this is fate. The gray dragon coffin is destined to belong to him." Ouyang Long stood up and sighed. That day, he helped us chase away the Zheng clan, resolving the fate of the gray dragon coffin being stolen. Now, just as he is about to die, he has appeared at the Zheng clan in front of the gray dragon coffin. It must be fate. Everything has its own plans. Ouyang Long sighed. Hearing this, Ouyang Yusin's expression changed. "What? Father, are you crazy? You want to let him use the gray dragon coffin that has been passed down in the family? This is for your own use. Once father is seriously injured, the gray dragon coffin can revive you and save your life. How can you give it to Su Yu?" Ouyang Yusin had tried to stop this. The gray dragon coffin was a treasure passed down by the Ouyang clan. It was a divine artifact obtained from a relic. It could continuously absorb the spirit energy of heaven and earth, creating a special energy. As long as one lay within it, their vitality would be restored and all injuries would be healed. It could be said that as long as one was breathing, one could be revived from the dead. The only drawback was that one could only gather one coffin every 100 years and use it once. Now, this heaven-defying opportunity had to be given to Su Yu. Ouyang Yusin could not tolerate it. But Ouyang Long's expression turned cold, his expression tense as he softly scolded, "Yusin, how many times do I have to say it? One cannot disappoint one's parents. 2. One cannot disappoint one's conscience. If not for him, you in the gray dragon coffin would have long been taken by Zheng Xinbao. Can you live in peace if you do not return this favor?" The repeated scoldings caused Ouyang Yusin to shrink back, not daring to argue further. But in her heart, Ouyang Yusin felt that the Ouyang clan had suffered a great loss this time. From the perspective of benefits, Her father had done something foolish again. Go, get the gray dragon coffin. There's no time to lose. Ouyang Long's expression changed. Su Yu's aura had once again weakened. Now he could only exhale, but not inhale. Chapter 257. A moment later, a dragon-shaped coffin lay in the secret chamber. The carvings on the coffin were lifelike, like a real dragon. Its entire body was yellow, mottled with age. An ancient aura slowly circulated around it. It was a ghastly sight to behold, especially the dragon head, which had been half destroyed. Ouyang Long grabbed the dragon head, forcefully lifting it open. The dragon-shaped coffin slowly opened. Roar! A faintly discernible dragon roar seemed to drift along with the wind, seeming both real and illusory. Thick spirit energy and a strange power surged out. Taking a light breath made one feel refreshed. Even Ouyang Yusin was seeing the gray dragon coffin open for the first time. She could not help but exclaim, "What a mystical energy! Just taking a breath makes my body feel more alive. Also, my cultivation level seems to be restless." The gray dragon coffin was not only filled with the energy to restore the body, but also powerful spirit energy. The moment Ouyang Long opened it, he placed Su Yu into the coffin. Clang! As the coffin lid closed, Ouyang Long heaved a sigh of relief. "Inu, this is all I can do. What happens next will depend on your luck." The woman left, leaving only the gray dragon coffin in the secret chamber. After a long time, within the coffin, Su Yu slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were clear, filled with gratitude. Even though his body was heavily injured, his soul was unharmed. At the critical moment, the divine nine-dragon cauldron had shaken, cleansing his soul with the spirit liquid. His heaven son, gazing at air technique, had finally entered stage 1 lower class. His soul could now leave his body, and the strength of his soul had doubled. The effect was that Su Yu's level of comprehension had doubled. Also, creak, Su Yu's eyes shot out a ball of gray light, piercing through the gray dragon coffin. Zi Yunxiang, who was in a deep sleep, let out a muffled groan. Her pretty face was slightly contorted, showing signs of pain. His soul could leave his body, injuring the enemy at close range. One could imagine how terrifying a soul attack that was twice as powerful as someone of the same level would be. Furthermore, what Su Yu cared about the most was the transformation of the divine nine-dragon cauldron. The second dragon, the red dragon, had completely crystallized. Back then, when the first dragon had completely crystallized, Su Yu had obtained an ability, Seal of Time. Now that the second dragon had completely crystallized, Su Yu had obtained another ability, Space Vortex. Creating spatial distortions could be used to teleport a person away, and the power of spatial distortions could be used to shatter objects. The destructive power of this spatial ability was unimaginable. Su Yu was looking forward to the next soul transformation, and he wondered what kind of talent the third dragon would bring him. The purple dragon represented time, and the red dragon represented space. What about the next dragon? All in all, this could be considered as a blessing in disguise. The only thing that worried Su Yu was that Zi Donglai's whereabouts were unknown. Would the spatial vortex take him away? If he failed, would he still be alive? If he succeeded, where would he be now? After checking his body, Su Yu's eyes shone with a cold light. His internal organs were destroyed, and his meridians were severed. This was the first time in his life that he had suffered such heavy injuries. It could be said that it was no different from death. Wu Ming, Han Jianglin. Su Yu's murderous intent could not be quelled. In the process of teleportation, he should have been able to leave easily. However, it was Nameless, that mysterious red-robed youth, who had suddenly attacked him and interrupted his teleportation, forcing him to break through his limits and execute the fourth version of the Buddhist saint's 8 characters. Su Yu knew that he had no enmity with Nameless, but this person was overbearing and wanted to kill him. If he didn't die, this blood debt of life and death would never be erased. After a long time, Su Yu calmed his emotions, his soul regaining its calm. His body was still in a dangerous situation, and he needed to prioritize recovery. Within the gray dragon coffin, the mystical energy and majestic spirit energy made Suyu feel slightly at ease. He closed his eyes and waited for his body to recover. At the same time, with the increase in his level of perception brought about by the explosion of his soul, Suyu entered a state where time was accelerated by 200 times. Buddhist saints, 8 characters, 9 fingers of imaginary thunder, and the divine decree all entered a state of comprehension. In the next 3 days, the Lin family, Feng family, Zheng family, all the big and small forces in the city were secretly searching for Suyu, Zi Yunxiang, and the missing Zi Donglai. Everything was hidden under a peaceful facade. In and outside the Alliance City, a handsome middle-aged man with an extraordinary bearing stood in front of the window with his hands clasped behind his back, overlooking the crowd. Behind him stood a lithe woman, respectfully. Her face was covered by a veil, her beautiful eyes like a pair of crescent moons. She seemed to be smiling, yet not smiling. Her pretty eyes moved slightly, sweeping across the crowd. There were a few ordinary passers-by, and she said meaningfully, "Palace Master, it seems like we missed a good show. There are so many spies hidden in the crowd. I wonder who they are looking for." The middle-aged man was the North Continent's Empire of Darkness sub-palace master, Ling Xiaotian. The veiled woman was Hua Zhilan. Ling Xiaotian laughed softly and shook his head. "Perhaps. It has nothing to do with us. However, I would like to see if there are any geniuses of the younger generation that can catch my eye in the Alliance ranking competition 3 days from now." 5 years ago, only Hua Zhilan had caught Ling Xiaotian's eye. He did not know what the situation would be like in this year's competition. Hearing this, Hua Zhilan's hatred rose again, her crescent moon-like eyes turning cold. "If I have the chance, I will definitely take Lu Jun's head." Back then, she had entered the Xintian Manor as a magical ability. She did not expect to be plotted against by Lu Jun, nearly becoming his exclusive property and having her chastity taken by him. Luckily, Ling Xiaotian intervened and took her in as a sub-palace member. Closing the window, Ling Xiaotian shook his head and laughed. "This kind of person can live happily for a while, but not forever. If you do not kill him, someone else will naturally kill him. There is no need to take it to heart. Furthermore, you have another important task to do," Ling Xiaotian said. Hua Zhilan was stern. "Palace Master, please instruct me." Whoosh! Ling Xiaotian took out a piece of crystal. On it was carved a few lines of elegant words. "Find Suyu, Lord Yu." After reading it, Hua Zhilan pouted, muttering unhappily, "It's Suyu again. Who is he to Lord Yu? Why must I find him?" Before this, I had already gone to Shenyue Island once and found the sanctuary where his faction used to be. However, I received news that a person called Suyu had gone to a faction called the Cabinet of Phoenixes to participate in a competition. Then, both factions disappeared, their whereabouts unknown. With no clues left, how could they find Suyu in this sea of people? Ling Xiaotian's expression turned serious, lightly scolding. "Insolence! How can you question Lord Yu's orders? Execute it immediately." Sticking out her tongue, Hua Zhilan respectfully replied, "Yes." Secretly, Hua Zhilan clenched her teeth, clenching her fists. "Bastard Suyu, if I find you, I'll teach you a lesson first." In order to find Suyu, she had worked tirelessly and was even criticized. As if he could see through Hua Zhilan's thoughts, Ling Xiaotian sighed. "No matter what, this is an order from the Empire of Darkness. As a sub-palace, I have to complete it to the letter. Make a trip to Shenyue Island. After you return, I'll arrange for you to train in Anua City." Anua City? Hua Zhilan's sharp, snow-white ears twitched, her crescent eyes filled with surprise. Anua City was the #1 city of the North Continent. The Anua mountain range was a gathering of strong fighters from all over the North Continent. The Anua mountain range was similar to the Wulong snowfield, which traversed the North Continent. The difference was that the Wulong snowfield had been covered in ice and snow for tens of thousands of years, barren and desolate. The Anua mountain range was a primeval forest that had remained the same for hundreds of millions of years. The treasures it contained were the most abundant among the 4 continents. Many strong fighters from the other 3 continents headed to the Onum mountain range in search of opportunities. It could be said that if they could successfully return from the training in the Onum mountain range, they would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. This city was controlled by the North Continent's Snow Listening Tower, the Phoenix Cabinet, the 100 Territories Alliance, and the North Continent's sub-palace of the Empire of Darkness. Being assigned to train in Onus City was the dream of every sub-palace member. Unfortunately, there were only a few spots each time. The sub-palace master ranked above Hua Zhilan was more qualified than her. She had never thought that she would have the chance to enter Onus City. To think that such an opportunity would fall upon her. Looking at the smiling Hua Zhilan, Ling Xiaodian did not know whether to laugh or cry. He shook his head. Go quickly, there's no time to lose. Whoosh, Hua Zhilan disappeared from the house. 3 days later, at the city master's manor, Han Jianglin listened to the reports from the Lin, Feng, and Zheng families. His expression was dark. Zi Donglai was nowhere to be found. Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang were nowhere to be found. With the Alliance Meets ranking competition approaching, Han Jianglin could only endure for now. Pass down my orders. Let Wu Yaoyue and Huang Xiaoyan participate in the competition. At the same time, announce to the public that Sir Feng Yu, Feng Linyue, Zhao Wuming, and Tan Duanfei are training outside and will not be able to return in time. As for Inu, announce to the public that he knows he is no match and has forfeited the ranking competition. He had no choice but to allow Wu Yaoyue and Huang Xiaoyan to participate in the competition. The top geniuses of the Alliance City had been slaughtered. If even the 2 of them were missing, anyone would be suspicious. As for the 4 geniuses who had perished, they could only use this as an excuse to cover it up. As for Su Yu, he admitted defeat and withdrew from the competition. As for whether or not he was worried that Su Yu would cause trouble, would he dare to come? The Alliance Meets ranking competition, after a storm of blood that no one knew about, began once again in a festive mood. At the Ouyang family, in a secret chamber, the gray dragon coffin shook. Thump! A strong gust of air surged, flipping the coffin lid open. A perfectly intact body lay quietly in the middle of it. Other than the blood stains, there were no other injuries. That pair of tightly shut eyes suddenly opened. Buzz, the air vibrated. That pair of eyes that were as deep as the starry sky released a mysterious glow. A completely new aura surrounded Su Yu's body. Buddha Saint's 8 characters had not let him down after so much hard work. He had finally cultivated it to the entry level. The power of the word Lin was unprecedentedly strong. 9 fingers of imaginary thunder had taken a huge step forward from lower class. It was only a step away from upper class. With more hard work, he would definitely achieve a breakthrough. The divine decree that Su Yu cared about the most had finally achieved a breakthrough. With the mutation of his soul and his long accumulation, his divine decree had finally progressed from half-god grade to divine grade. Su Yu was looking forward to its power. Other than the technique, the spirit energy within the gray dragon coffin had also caused Su Yu's cultivation level to soar. He had broken through from Dragon Realm level 5 lower class to Dragon Realm level 5 peak. Furthermore, he was only a step away from Dragon Realm level 6. This disaster had been a blessing in disguise, and he had gained a lot from it. Outside the gray dragon coffin, the awakened Li Yunxiang, who had been waiting by the side, had an excited expression on her haggard face. Her eyes were filled with sorrow and tears. You have finally come back to life. Her father's fate was unknown, and Su Yu had almost died. She was the only one left in the world. Chapter 258. Extending his hand, he wiped away Zi Yunxiang's tears. His expression was cold. Su Yu, will definitely avenge Housemaster Zi. He would take Han Jianglin's life with his own hands. Zi Yunxiang wept silently, allowing Su Yu to wipe away her tears. Her heart was moved, her eyes blurred. Su Yu was silent for a moment, glancing at the Tai Chi fish on his neck. There was a clear crack. What is this yin-yang fish? Su Yu asked. In a moment of crisis, it was the space energy hidden within this item that had transported them away. Zi Yunxiang looked up, her lips pursed. She took out a pendant from her collar. It was also a Tai Chi fish. Su Yu's Tai Chi fish was black, Zi Yunxiang's white. When the two were put together, they formed a Tai Chi symbol. This is my Z clan's heirloom. It's an incomplete divine weapon. It contains the power of space and can transport a certain distance in time. Originally, it was given to me as a dowry. As Zi Yunxiang spoke, her pretty face turned slightly red. That day, when Housemaster Zi had gifted the black Tai Chi fish to Su Yu, Zi Yunxiang had a strange expression, but Su Yu had not noticed. This item was meant for the future son-in-law of the Zi family. Su Yu had accepted it unknowingly. At that moment, Su Yu felt a weight in his hands. This was the first time they had met, and he had given his all just because of Lin Yunhe's recommendation. Su Yu had no way of repaying the favor. So, the housemaster had already predicted and made arrangements. Su Yu sighed. Zi Donglai had probably already had a bad premonition and had made preparations to give Su Yu the two treasures used for escaping. But if Zi Donglai had left them for Su Yu, he would not have to die. But he had left the hope of survival to Su Yu. Su Yu did not know how to repay this favor. This set of jade pendants has another use, Zi Yunxiang added. As long as we are within a suitable range, we can teleport to each other. Zi Yunxiang added. As long as we are within a range of 100 kilometers, I can teleport to your location at any time, and you can also teleport to my location. However, it can only be used twice before the power of space within dissipates. In other words, so you could easily return from 100 miles away, as expected of a broken divine artifact. Nodding, Su Yu surveyed the surroundings. Where's the Ouyang family master? I think I need to thank him personally. If not for his selfless repayment, Su Yu would have long become a cold corpse. They have already headed to the venue of the Alliance tournament. With Han Zhenglin around, how could Ouyang long dare to give himself away? Alliance tournament? Has it already begun? Su Yu's pupils contracted. Shua. Su Yu stood up abruptly. What are you doing? Zi Yunxiang exclaimed. Su Yu's eyes shone with a cold light. Of course, I will settle a blood debt first. Wait for me. After leaving behind these words, Su Yu left the secret chamber. Beast Fighting Arena. 100,000 spectators gathered once again. The knockout round 3 days ago had been spectacular. Not only were there 3 legendary geniuses, but there were also a few unforgettable dark horses. The squinting Huang Xiaoyan, the cold and merciless Wu Yaoyue, the mysterious Yin, and the last strange one, Nameless. Under the anticipation of the audience, the entire audience entered the arena for the knockout round. There were a total of 100 people, and, if there were no accidents, they would successfully enter the Xintian Manor. The Lucian faction master's face was filled with gratification. He looked lovingly at his disciple, Ji Hongxue, whom he was proud of. He, who was at Dragon Realm level 3, combined with an immortal level technique, did not disappoint the crowd and successfully made it into the top 100. In the history of the Lucian faction, aside from Euro, this was the second disciple of the Xintian Manor to appear. This caused the Lucian faction master, who had been depressed for a long time, to reveal a sliver of joy for the first time. Thinking of Su Yu, the Lucian faction master looked at the 100 disciples and could not help but shake his head. So what if his talent is high? The Xintian Manor is a land of fortune. It is only a matter of time before Ji Hongxue surpasses him. With his thoughts clear, the Lucian faction master felt refreshed and rekindled his hope for the future. Whoosh! On the rostrum, Han Zhenglin descended, attracting the attention of the crowd. Housemaster Zi is out on a mission. Today, the Alliance Master will host the ranking competition. The crowd looked around. Not only was Housemaster Zi absent, but the head judge Lin Lingjian, the Feng family master, and the Zheng family master were also absent. Also, there is another matter that is regrettable, Han Zhenglin said. Mr. Feng Yuelin, Zhao Wuming, Tan Duanfei, and the rest have given up on the competition because they have matters to attend to. Also, Zi Yunxiang and Yin Yu have voluntarily admitted defeat due to their abilities. The crowd was in an uproar. So many geniuses had all missed the competition. Furthermore, they were the best batch of geniuses. The Lucian faction master was slightly stunned. He did not have a deep impression of the rest, but he had a deep impression of a youth called Inu. Inu is one of the few dark horses outside of the Alliance City. As a force outside of the Alliance City, the Lucian faction master could not help but have a good impression of him. Just what force could nurture such an exceptional genius? All right, the competition officially begins, Han Jianglin announced as he pressed his hands down. But before he could finish, a calm voice floated over from the sky. Alliance Master Han, when did I say that I would withdraw from the competition because I admitted defeat? From the horizon, a youth in a long white robe flew over quickly. Thump! As his feet landed on the arena, his figure became clear. Silver mask, silver hair, white moon ice spiritual robe. Who else could it be but Inu? The stun scene caused the crowd to make guesses. Han Jianglin's gaze narrowed. You actually dared to come? Why would I not dare to come? Could it be that Alliance Master Han is threatening us to not participate in the competition? So you replied calmly. Han Jianglin's expression turned cold. He retracted his coldness, his expression calm. Then I must have misunderstood. Quickly enter the team and prepare to enter the arena. How could he kill Su Yu on the spot under the gaze of 100,000 people? However, Su Yu's appearance was unexpected. The clans were equally shocked. Su Yu, who had not been seen for 3 days, had actually appeared here. The geniuses, led by Lin Aojue, who was preparing to fight, felt their limbs turn cold. The bloody scene of Su Yu massacring the geniuses of the Alliance City and killing 3 elders of the Immortal Realm 3 days ago was still fresh in their minds. The competition begins. The battles between 100 people will be carried out on 10 arenas. The arena that Su Yu was on did not have many worthy opponents, and he successfully advanced to the top 10. Ji Hongxue was eliminated. His abilities were only around the level of 70th or 80th place. Returning to the spectators' platform, Ji Hongxue's face was rosy, his eyes still filled with battle intent. That felt great. In the Lucian faction, it is impossible to experience such a hearty battle. If only Junior Su was here. With his abilities, he might even be able to fight his way into the top 50. Sensing that something was amiss, Ji Hongxue's voice stopped abruptly. In the Lucian faction, Su Yu is a taboo name. The faction had strict orders that no one was allowed to mention his name. Anyone who dared to do so would be punished. He had already become a taboo character. Everyone knew of his existence, but no one dared to speak of his existence. Even thousands of years later, Su Yu is still a taboo legend in the history of the Lucian faction. That bloody, dark history would be buried with his name in the dust of history. The Lucian faction master had a complicated expression, sighing lightly. Knowing that he had inadvertently touched a sore spot in his master's heart, he hurriedly changed the topic. Master, Inu, Wu Yaoyue, and Huang Xiaoyan. These 3 dark horses, which faction nurtured them? It is very shocking. The Lucian faction master's gaze stopped on Su Yu, slowly nodding. The other 2 have a savage aura on them. They should be disciples nurtured by a faction near the Dark Moon Forest. That Inu is very mysterious. He did not reveal a single bit of his aura, and I could not tell where he came from at all. He should be nurtured by a large faction outside of the Alliance City. Otherwise, it would be hard to imagine that such a shocking genius would appear in the 100 territories. Mentioning Inu, the Lucian faction master did not hide his admiration. Ji Hongxue glanced over, his eyes filled with deep respect. He is indeed unfathomable. In the top 10 competition, nameless Lin Aojue, Wu Yaoyue, Huang Xiaoyan, Ouyang Yusin, Lian, and Su Yu had qualified. First match, Su Yu versus Lin Aojue. The number plate drawn by the referee caused the entire crowd to be excited. The first match is Lin Aojue. What's more interesting is that he is still their opponent. During the elimination round, Lin Aojue did not want to fight Su Yu, directly admitting defeat, causing Su Yu to lose face. Meeting him again today is really interesting. Whoosh, 2 silhouettes flew up to the arena. Su Yu looked at Han Jianglin, his lips forming a cold smile. Internally determined rankings? Withdrawing his gaze, Suyu shot a cold glance toward Lin Aojue. He did not speak, but his gaze caused Lin Aojue to feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar, his entire body turning cold. It was as if he could see his head being smashed into pieces by a finger. Deeply understanding the difference between them, Lin Aojue did not say a word, turning to leave the arena. This scene caused the audience to look at each other in dismay. Is Lin Aojue admitting defeat again? Haha, this is already the second time. That means you must be extremely depressed, right? If I were him, I would also be embarrassed. I attacked twice, but the other party did not even bother to attack. The Lucien faction master sighed. In the end, Lin Aojue is stronger than him. And you can only be considered unlucky to have met him. Ji Hongxue felt the same way. After all, he is the leader of the three great legendary geniuses. He has the right to be arrogant. The crowd was either regretful, pitying, sympathetic, or gloating. But at this moment, Suyu coldly said, "Did I let you go down? Come back." Lin Aojue stopped in his tracks, his heart trembling violently. Feeling the overbearing tone of Suyu's words, Lin Aojue felt humiliated. He turned his head and said, "I have already left the arena. What more do you want?" Suyu said, "What do you mean by leaving the arena?" Lin Aojue clenched his fists, his lips trembling for a moment before he opened his mouth with difficulty. "Of course, I admit defeat." The word admit defeat was like humiliation, causing him to speak with difficulty. In the past, he had admitted defeat to Suyu because he did not want to fight him. But now he did not dare fight him. "If you want to admit defeat," Suyu said coldly, "get on the arena and admit defeat in front of everyone, who will know what you are doing if you continue walking without saying a word." Suyu shouted coldly. Lin Aojue was slightly angry. "Don't go overboard." Suyu was clearly humiliating him intentionally. As an unofficial disciple of the Alliance Master, you do not even dare admit defeat in front of everyone. Do you think that your status is noble, that your dignity cannot be humiliated, or do you think that you are a sore loser? Suyu coldly refuted. "If you are a sore loser, then don't come to the arena. Hide in your Lin family, hide behind the Alliance Master, and be a frog at the bottom of a well." When had Lin Aojue ever experienced being reprimanded in front of everyone? Only Suyu. On the Master's stage, Han Jianglin squinted his eyes, his murderous intents circulating. How was Suyu humiliating Lin Aojue? He was clearly humiliating him. "Inyu, stop before you go too far." Han Jianglin's expression turned serious, coldly saying. Chapter 259. Is my request too much? Suyu asked coldly. As a teacher, not only do you not teach your disciple to face failure bravely, but you also cover for him? If this is how you train your disciples, then I have nothing to say. Han Jianglin's expression did not change, but he clenched his fists slightly. It was obvious that Suyu was here to cause trouble. After a moment of silence, Han Jianglin said indifferently, "Aojue." Now that things had come to this, no matter how humiliated Lin Aojue felt, he could only return to the arena. In front of everyone, he cupped his fists and bowed. "I, Lin Aojue, admit defeat." After he finished speaking, his face flushed red. He felt that all the glory he had gained in the past had been extinguished at this moment. The once strongest genius of the 100 Territories Alliance lowered his noble head in front of everyone. The audience was dead silent. In their eyes, Lin Aojue had humiliated Suyu once again and felt that it was beneath him to fight with Suyu. But the truth was that Lin Aojue did not dare to fight him. Such an intense contrast caused them to be shocked speechless, and they were unable to recover from their shock for a long time. Han Jianglin took a deep breath and winked at the judge, ordering the match to continue. Next battle, Huang Xiaoyan against Lin Aojue. Everyone came back to their senses and focused their attention on Lin Aojue again. Could it be that Lin Aojue was injured and Inyu became complacent? Just watch this battle and you will know. The two of them flew onto the stage. Lin Aojue was immersed in the doubts of the crowd, and he felt as if there was a dagger at his back. If he didn't establish his might as soon as possible, his reputation would be ruined. You step back. Lin Aojue pointed at Huang Xiaoyan from afar and ordered her to step back. Huang Xiaoyan narrowed her eyes and glared at him. Who do you think I am? You want to scare me off with just a few words? Could it be that you've lost and are in a hurry to get back at me? Lin Aojue's merciless act was exposed, and a fierce glint flashed across his face. You're courting death. Proud absolute fist. The power of the heavens and earth silently descended. This punch seemed to look down on all directions, arrogantly ruling over the world. Just like his name, he was supercilious. Immortal Spirit Art Level 1 Small Success. Apart from Suyu, this was the first time someone had used Stage 1 lower class of an immortal level cultivation technique. Huang Xiaoyan's expression changed drastically. Bang! Even though Huang Xiaoyan used all her strength to block the attack, she was still unable to resist it. Her enormous body was blasted off the arena on the spot, defeating the enemy in one move. Lin Aojue was still the arrogant Lin Aojue who looked down on the geniuses of the 100 territories. However, the crowd did not understand why Lin Aojue would admit defeat to Suyu. Next, Wu Yaoyue versus Lin Aojue. The referee announced quickly. Whoosh! He had just finished speaking when a strong gust of wind assaulted him. It was Wu Yaoyue, who was holding a sword in his arms. His cold eyes were like lightning, and there were a few cold stars in them. You dare to hurt her? Do you want to get off by yourself? Or do I have to invite you? Although they were both at Dragon Realm level 6 pinnacle, it was difficult to determine how Wu Yaoyue's abilities compared to Lin Aojue's. In the eyes of many, Wu Yaoyue was the most mysterious and powerful dark horse in this alliance tournament. Against him, Lin Aojue did not dare to be careless. Humph! You want me to scram? Aren't you afraid of breaking your teeth? Wu Yaoyue sneered. You don't even dare to fight Inu, and you still have the face to be so arrogant in front of me. I'm giving you face by asking you to scram. Since you don't want it, I won't stand on ceremony with you. Take this. Who? Wu Yaoyue did not draw his sword. Instead, he used his palm force. See Suppressing Seal. An extremely powerful aura of the heavens and earth descended. Han Jianglin squinted. An immortal level technique of Stage 1 lower class? Where did he come from? Wu Yaoyue and Huang Xiaoyan's origins were mysterious. Lin Aojue treated them seriously. Proud absolute fist. Both of them were Stage 1 lower class immortal level techniques. The two of them clashed, releasing a powerful force. Rub. The two of them were evenly matched. Their cultivation levels were the same, and their techniques were similar. As a result, their abilities were about the same. Wu Yaoyue retracted his palm, nodding. Not too bad, but that's all. The so-called leader of the 3 great ancient regions is only SOSO. Hearing this, Lin Aojue let out a cold laugh. You're nothing much. You might not be stronger than me. We have already proven this point. Wu Yaoyue had challenged Lin Aojue a long time ago. No one knew the outcome of the challenge. Now, it looked like it was a draw. Huh? Wu Yaoyue laughed mockingly. I was just testing how strong the so-called leader of the 3 great legendary geniuses is. Who told you those a duel? Palm techniques are not what I'm best at. They're just a technique that I use to aid my training. Swords are what I am best at. The audience was slightly shocked. His palm techniques alone had reached a level that ordinary people could not hope to reach. But this was only to aid his training. He did not spend too much effort. What level was the sword technique that he was best at? Lin Aojue's pupils constricted, but he refused to admit defeat. Won't you know if you draw your sword and try? But Wu Yaoyue did not draw his sword. He held the hilt with one hand and pointed the sword at Lin Aojue. You are not worthy of me drawing my sword. You were not worthy in the past, and you are still not worthy now. I will defeat you even without drawing my sword. His arrogant words caused the geniuses who admired Lin Aojue to be filled with hatred. Impudent. This person is extremely arrogant. Do you really not respect the geniuses of the Alliance City? Lin Aojue himself was furious. You are too impudent. In the eyes of the weak, The actions of the strong are naturally impudent, Wu Yaoyue said calmly. All right, I will send you down. I still have important matters to attend to. Lin Aojue humphed coldly. Let's see who goes down first. Proud absolute fist. Wu Yaoyue shook his head slightly. 3 styles of blood sword. Creak. The sword in his hand instantly turned into a beam of blood-red light. Following Wu Yaoyue's figure, it charged forward like lightning. The blood-red light contained a thick, bloody aura, as if the blood of countless living creatures had been condensed. With one sword, everything trembled in fear. This sword contained an extremely ferocious aura. Han Jianglin's eyes narrowed slightly. What a thick, ferocious aura. Could it be that he came from the Dark Moon Forest? Rumble. The sword was like red lightning, piercing through the air. With a muffled sound, Lin Aojue's fist was smashed into pieces. His flesh was a mess, and his face was filled with shock as he flew out of the arena. One strike without drawing his sword had completely defeated Lin Aojue. Everyone knew that if not for the taboo against killing, that strike just now would have killed Lin Aojue. The leader of the 3 legends, Lin Aojue, had been defeated twice in a row, causing the audience to feel as if they were hallucinating. Wasn't Lin Aojue too weak? But when they regained their senses, they understood that it was not that Lin Aojue was too weak, but that the geniuses of this batch were too strong. It's your turn. Wu Yaoyue pointed his sword at Nameless. His cold eyes burned with a ferocious desire to fight, and his lips split into a wide smile. I thought that this would be a boring competition. I did not expect to meet Silver Feather and you consecutively. Haha, this kind of competition is more interesting. Wu Yaoyue licked his lips. Nameless stood with his arms crossed. His appearance was ordinary, and his aura was ordinary. One could not tell how strong he was. Hearing this, his lips curled into a faint smile. You are very confident. It's a pity that you do not know who your opponent is. Wu Yaoyue laughed. I do not care who you are. I only need to know that the one who will defeat you is me. Nameless stepped onto the arena and said with a faint smile, since that is the case, feel free to attack. The 2 of them ignored the referee, but with Han Jianglin's signal, the referee did not stop them. See Suppressing Seal. Wu Yaoyue struck out with his palm. The power of an immortal-level technique of Stage 1 lower class was not to be underestimated. No one dared to underestimate it. Even an Immortal Realm Level 1 junior did not dare to let his guard down. But Nameless was relaxed, shaking his head and laughing. Insignificant tricks. Just a joke. Nameless flicked his sleeves. Creak. The power of heaven and earth in the surroundings was shattered into pieces. Suyu's eyes were cold. No matter who you are, I will settle this debt of blood with you. Nameless power shocked everyone once again. How could he have such terrifying power so easily? Who was this person? How terrifying was his cultivation level? But on the arena, Wu Yaoyue was not surprised. He attacked with the long sword in his hand. 3 forms blood sword. A bolt of bloodlight, as fast as lightning, headed straight for Nameless. Nameless had a faint sneer on his lips. It's still a small trick. This time, Nameless flicked his finger. Clang! Wu Yaoyue's body shook. The long sword in his hand shook violently. His body was forcefully sent flying 30 Chinese feet away. The so-called 3 forms blood sword was broken on the spot. One had to know that this sword had forced Lin Aojue back with a single move. But such a terrifying sword had been easily broken. Wu Yaoyue was not angry. Instead, he was happy. Good. You are worthy of me drawing my sword. Clang. A long sword hum shook the air. Wu Yaoyue had drawn his sword for the first time. The snow-white cold light brought with it the coldness of death, sending chills down everyone's spines. In fact, those with a lower cultivation level would feel intense pain in their eyes if they looked at the sword for too long. A piercingly cold sword chi, which almost materialized, circled around the sword. A powerful spirituality was revealed to the crowd as the sword was unsheathed. Many people sensed that what they were facing was not an ordinary iron sword, but a living creature, divine artifact. Han Jianglin's pupils dilated. Spirituality was something that only divine artifacts could possess. This sword was actually a god artifact sword that could unleash its full power. Nameless' smile faded, and he finally looked serious. I haven't seen blood in a long time since coming to the Alliance City. I'll use you as a sacrifice. Wu Yaoyue's eyes were bloodthirsty. 3 forms blood sword. First form, human kill. Rumble. A strange scene appeared. Wu Yaoyue's eyes instantly turned blood red, and an inhuman aura surged out of his body. That aura was like that of a demonic beast, not of the human race. Inside his body, there was a liquid that resembled lightning and flames. Han Jianglin squinted. Demonic beast bloodline? It was rumored that in the Dark Forest, there was an extremely rare race. They were born with demonic beast bloodlines and could unleash unimaginable power. Using demonic beast bloodline to activate a divine artifact. If a divine artifact did not recognize its owner, it was almost impossible for it to be used. And Wu Yaoyue had obviously found the trick to using demonic beast bloodline to resonate with the divine artifact and use the sword. Kill. The sword slashed horizontally. Instantly, a 10-zhonglong blood-red sword energy slashed down from the sky. Sword energy coming out of the body, as expected of a divine artifact. Only immortal realm martial artists can achieve spirit energy coming out of the body, but with the help of a divine artifact, it can be achieved. The power of this sword was enough to kill a dragon realm level 7 lower tier. This was where Wu Yaoyue's confidence came from. But after Nameless recovered from his shock, his expression remained calm. Insignificant tricks. Creak. He flicked his 10 fingers consecutively, shattering the blood-red sword energy. Wu Yaoyue squinted. Could it be that you have a dragon realm level 7 upper tier cultivation base? Then take another strike. 3 forms blood sword, second form, earth kill. Rumble. This time, the sword energy coming out of the body was a full 2 zhonglong. The audience, who were far away, could feel the cold, murderous intent. The eyelids of some dragon realm level 7 upper tier fighters twitched, and they gasped. What kind of sword is this? And what kind of sword technique is this? But Nameless still did not move a single step. He raised his palm and grabbed the air. Still insignificant tricks. Creak. The 2 zhonglong sword energy was shattered again. Wu Yaoyue became serious for the first time. Could it be that you have already broken through to Dragon Realm level 7 peak? You are only 1 step away from becoming a strong fighter of the Immortal Realm. His opponent looked to be about 20 years old, but he had such frightening potential. But it ends here. Wu Yaoyue took a deep breath and performed the last form. 3 forms blood sword, third form, heaven kill. Human kill, earth kill, heaven kill. 3 swords, each stronger than the last. A 3 zhonglong blood-red sword. It sliced toward Nameless from the sky. Even a Dragon Realm level 7 peak fighter would die with this sword. But what was shocking was that Nameless still maintained his original position, coldly shaking his head. I've already said that these are all insignificant tricks. Whoosh! Nameless struck with his palm, and a streak of spirit energy shot out of his palm. Spirit energy coming out of the body. Something that only an Immortal Realm fighter could do. He was actually an Immortal Realm genius. An Immortal Realm genius who was only 20 years old. Chapter 260. Creak. The spirit energy he released was 30 feet long, destroying the 300-foot sword energy on the spot. Wu Yaoyue was sent flying, as if struck by lightning, off the arena. Wu Yaoyue had been defeated. Even the last move of the 3 forms blood sword, which had the power of a Dragon Realm level 7 peak, had been defeated, because his opponent was an Immortal Realm genius who had hidden himself well. Who is it? Which faction has nurtured an Immortal Realm genius? John Doe's strength was beyond compare. Su Yu's eyes were filled with thought. Who was Nameless? Han Jianglin revealed a playful expression, sipping his tea. The outcome of this match was already within his expectations. The referee was stunned for a moment, then announced the results. Next match, Su Yu versus Wu Yaoyue. Whoosh! Wu Yaoyue looked at Nameless, his eyes filled with dissatisfaction. With a divine artifact, he could fight someone 3 levels above him, but he had still been defeated. The reason was because his opponent had an immortal realm genius. Seeing that Wu Yaoyue was indifferent, the referee creased his brows and repeated, "Wu Yaoyue, enter the arena." Wu Yaoyue shifted his gaze from Nameless, but he did not look at Su Yu, who was on the arena. He turned expressionlessly and walked out of the arena. Huang Xiaoyan turned back and looked at Su Yu, then left with Wu Yaoyue. "Wu Yaoyue, if you do not enter the arena, you will be disqualified," the referee announced. Wu Yaoyue did not even turn back, walking straight out of the arena. Only when his figure disappeared did he say, "If I do not get first place, this competition has no meaning to me. Whoever wants to fight can fight. I withdraw from the competition." The audience was in an uproar. The alliance meet was a time to make a name for oneself. A genius like Wu Yaoyue had actually given up, and Huang Xiaoyan had no desire to leave. Did they not care about the Xintian manner? The arena was silent for a moment before the referee announced, "Wu Yaoyue has withdrawn for the competition. Su Yu wins." Su Yu had inexplicably won twice in a row. Lin Aojue had admitted defeat. Wu Yaoyue had withdrawn from the competition, and Su Yu had not even fought. This is really strange. How can he advance like this? There were many people who were angry. Wu Ming stood below the arena with his hand behind his back. He pursed his lips slightly and revealed a faint sneer. "You're lucky. In the battle 3 days ago, Nameless had been there personally. How could he not understand that Lin Aojue and Wu Yaoyue were not Su Yu's match? But now, in front of everyone, he was deliberately belittling Su Yu, telling the world that Su Yu was merely lucky. Su Yu looked up and snorted coldly. "Luck? Does a person who has already been selected have the right to say that others are lucky?" The faint smile on Wu Ming's lips remained. "Internally decided? Who said that? Do you really think no one will dare to punish you for slandering me in public? In this world, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want." So you could not help but laugh coldly. "Slander? May I ask why Mr. Feng Yu and Feng Yuelin did not participate in the competition? May I ask where Chief Referee Lin Lingjian and the Feng clan head have gone? Why don't I tell everyone why they didn't come?" Wu Ming's expression changed drastically, and he didn't dare to talk back. "You don't dare to answer? Then shut up." So you snorted coldly. Wu Ming's cheek muscles twitched slightly, and he glared at Su Yu, not daring to continue the confrontation. On the main stage, Han Jianglin's expression was cold, and he revealed a shred of murderous intent. "Inu, if no one has taught you to be careful with your words and actions, I do not mind teaching you on behalf of your master." A wisp of hidden spirit energy gathered in his palm, ready to strike at any time to kill Su Yu from afar. Hearing this, Su Yu laughed loudly. "Are you threatening me?" Han Jianglin's expression became even colder. "I'm only teaching you the principles of being a human." "Haha, I do not need a treacherous person to teach me the principles of being a human." So you let out a cold laugh. Han Jianglin's expression turned even uglier. "So you had called him a treacherous person in front of everyone? Do you know your crime for insulting the Alliance Master?" Han Jianglin was ready to strike. So you let out a cold laugh. "Insulting you? I am merely stating the truth. A person who organized the Alliance meet, but could not bear to hand over the flesh regeneration elixir, and thus gathered the top 10 fighters to arrange the rankings of the competition, is a treacherous person. A person who once promised to restore the 100 Territories Alliance with Housemaster Z, but now killed Housemaster Z while he was heavily injured, is a treacherous person. If someone like you is not a treacherous person, then there is not a single person in the world who is a despicable person." The powerful words, mixed with the shocking inside story, rolled across the horizon. The 100,000 spectators were overwhelmed with shock. They looked at each other, indescribably shocked. Could what Inu had said be true? Manipulating the competition was a small matter, but killing Housemaster Z was a big matter. Could it be that Housemaster Z was already in trouble? Thinking back to Housemaster Z's sudden absence from the final match of the Alliance meet, it was thought-provoking. Wu Ming's and Han Jianglin's pupils dilated. How dare Su Yu? He dared to reveal the truth. Slap. Han Jianglin slammed the table and stood up, his face filled with anger. He then shouted righteously, "Insolence! A mere junior dares to slander the alliance in front of everyone. Men, capture him!" With a loud shout, 10 people rushed out from every corner of the beast fighting arena. They wore black armor and had a murderous aura. Their cultivation bases were all strong fighters of Dragon Realm level 7. The spectators gasped. The personal guards of the Alliance Master. It was rumored that the Alliance Master had nurtured a team of guards that followed him all year round. There were a total of 10 guards, and every one of them was a strong fighter of Dragon Realm level 7. Normally, they were the backup candidates for the position of Deputy Alliance Master. "Why?" Su Yu said with a cold smile. "Are you angry because you are about to be exposed?" Han Jianglin's expression was filled with killing intent. Wu Ming's expression changed. "Audacious maniac, you dare to disturb the competition venue again and again." The spectators gradually regained their senses. Most of them found it hard to believe that their respected Alliance Master would do such a shocking thing. "Inu, how dare you slander the Alliance Master in front of everyone?" Inu, you are too presumptuous. How can the Alliance Master be tarnished by you? He is the dignified Alliance Master. Why would he care about a few elixirs? Angry rebukes rose and fell. Su Yu's words in front of everyone had angered many people who were loyal to Han Jianglin. Being spurned by the crowd, Su Yu let out a long roar. "A bunch of ignorant people. Since all of you are so certain, I will let all of you see his true colors." After saying this, Su Yu's cold gaze swept past the crowd, shooting straight toward Wu Ming. "Come up. Let me see who exactly you are." Su Yu let out a cold grunt. He had always felt that Wu Ming was extremely mysterious, and there was a layer of obscure ripples on his body. Combined with his frightening cultivation level, Su Yu was certain that there was something wrong with this person. If there really was such a genius, why had there been no news of him before this? Unexpectedly, Wu Ming was unmoved, letting out a cold grunt. "Are you worthy of fighting me?" Su Yu let out a cold laugh. "Why? Are you afraid or afraid? Didn't I say just now that I relied on luck? Why do you not dare to fight? Didn't you say that you were number 1 in the Alliance? Didn't you say that it was a small trick? Why do you not dare to fight?" Wu Ming's expression was sinister. "Do you think a disgraceful person like you has the right to fight me? Surrender immediately and await your punishment. If you do not dare to fight, then so be it. Why are you spouting so much nonsense?" Su Yu let out a cold grunt. A person who does not even have the courage to fight has the nerve to stand in the Alliance meet. Who would believe that your ranking was not predetermined? Wu Ming clenched his teeth. He was filled with hatred and a shred of fear. To him, Su Yu's Buddhist Saints 8 characters was not weak. Under such circumstances, he did not dare to fight Su Yu head-on. "Do you only know how to launch sneak attacks?" Su Yu walked down the stage, quickly walking over. "Since you do not dare to come up, I shall come down." Wu Ming raised his brows, his eyes filled with struggle. He did not know if he should attack. At this moment on the stage, "Humph! Who allowed you to continue participating in the competition?" "I, the Alliance Master, hereby announce that Inu has broken the rules of the competition and is disqualified," Han Jianglin coldly announced, his eyes filled with murderous intent. "Guards, capture him. If he dares to resist, kill him." Han Jianglin let out a loud roar. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 10 Dragon Realm level 7 guards came from all directions, their murderous intent enveloping Su Yu, trapping him in the middle. Su Yu laughed. "Using numbers to force me to exhaust my secret technique? Buddhist Saints 8 characters could not be used too many times." Han Jianglin and Wu Ming, who were present that day, must have realized this. With the abilities of these 10 guards, it was impossible for them to capture Su Yu alive. Their only use was to exhaust the most troublesome Buddhist Saints 8 characters. Wu Ming felt much more at ease, regaining his confidence. He stood outside the encirclement with his hands behind his back, coldly saying, "Joke? It is not that I do not dare. is that I cannot be bothered to fight you. Your level is too low. It is difficult for me to muster the courage to fight you. Why not let these guards do it for me?" He was clearly afraid of Su Yu, but he was boasting shamelessly. Saying this, Wu Ming leisurely leaned against the side of the stage, a faint smile on his face. "Let's begin. Let me comment." The 10 guards suddenly attacked. The first to attack was a strong martial artist of Dragon Realm level 7 lower tier. Clang! He swiped his palm at his waist, a few darts appearing in his palm. The tips of the darts were glowing with a black color. One look, and anyone could tell that they were poisonous. Whoosh, whoosh! With a flick of his wrist, 3 darts flew towards Su Yu's face, creating a series of afterimages. Su Yu did not even have time to react before he was pierced on the spot. Just SOSO. The Dragon Realm level 7 guard shook his head, his expression filled with disdain and disdain. Creak. But at this moment, Su Yu's figure, which had been pierced by the darts, disappeared into thin air. It was an afterimage. The guard's heart skipped a beat, his expression changing. Not good, but it was too late for him to react now. Too slow. A cold snort came from behind him. The guard's body froze, his pupils dilating. He turned his head stiffly. 10 feet behind him, there was a figure with a pair of white wings, standing quietly. His speed was too frightening. He had actually arrived behind him without anyone noticing. Thump! Su Yu did not give him a chance. He struck out with his palm, sending the guard flying with serious injuries. One move to defeat Dragon Realm level 7 lower tier. Chapter 261. At this moment, they finally understood why Lin Aojue would voluntarily admit defeat. It was because Lin Aojue was no match for Su Yu. Su Yu's abilities were too strong. Nameless calmly said, "Haha, your speed is passable. Winning with a sneak attack is just a small matter. You will not amount to much in the future." Such an evaluation was too biased. Movement techniques were also a part of one's abilities. How could it be a small matter? Furthermore, they were fighting head-on. How could it be a sneak attack? Su Yu was indifferent to the evaluation, taking a step toward Nameless. "It's your turn." Whoosh! But at this moment, another guard attacked. Dragon Realm level 7 upper tier. The newcomer's body was light, his expression calm, his tone low. Movement techniques? "Thief, this is the end." Whoosh! His figure blurred, disappearing into thin air. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Su Yu. But he did not attack. Instead, he swept his gaze toward a certain spot in the air. "Umph! I told you. This is the end." With a flash of his figure, he immediately left. A moment later, Su Yu turned into an afterimage, dispersing. In the void, there were only a few howls of wind, as if thunder and wind were rolling. Looking over, one could faintly see 2 figures intersecting. The scene was dead silent. Even the masters of the various families could not hide their shock. What fast speed! There are very few Immortal Realm level ones who can match up to them. The personal guards of the Alliance Master are indeed talented. The most shocking is still Su Yu. He is merely Dragon Realm level 5, but he has reached such an unbelievable level. The 2 of them chased each other in the air. The guard had a look of disdain. "You only dare to escape, but not fight? Is this what makes you so arrogant?" Creak! Su Yu stopped flying, revealing his figure. "If that is what you think, then so be it." Su Yu moved his finger. At once, the shapeless divine ice threads floated in the air. With a pull of his finger, the divine ice threads became taut. Puff, puff, puff. 5 consecutive sounds of flesh being torn apart could be heard. The crowd looked over, their scalps turning numb. 5 Dragon Realm level 7 lower tier guards have been sliced into pieces abruptly. Upon closer inspection, one would discover that there were extremely fine divine ice threads surrounding the 5 of them. It was precisely these sharp divine ice threads that sliced them into pieces. In other words, Su Yu had not escaped just now. Instead, he had secretly set up a trap and killed 5 guards in one breath. The Dragon Realm level 7 upper tier guard was both shocked and furious. While he was chasing Su Yu, he did not notice that Su Yu had set up these traps. "You, The guard was furious. I'll kill you. Wind kill. The first stage of the immortal spirit cultivation method was infinitely close to the first stage. Suddenly, with the whistling of the wind, a gust of wind condensed into a long saber that swept over. Suyu's expression was cold. Thunderstar finger. His Thunderstar finger was also close to the first level of great completion. Boom! The two of them collided. The guard did not move from his original position, but Suyu was forced back 10 steps. After all, there was an absolute gap between their cultivation levels. Dragon Realm Level 7 upper tier techniques were far stronger than Dragon Realm Level 5 pinnacle techniques. With a single move, it was clear who was superior. Humph! That's all there is to it. The guard's confidence was boosted, and he attacked again. Suyu took a light breath, a gray glow shooting out from his eyes. The glow pierced through the void, entering the void at a speed that was hard to detect with the naked eye. The incoming guard let out a pathetic cry, falling to the ground as he hugged his head. His face was bleeding, as if he had suffered severe injuries. But after 2 pathetic cries, the guard fainted on the spot from the intense pain. Without a doubt, Suyu had won again. Even a Dragon Realm Level 7 upper tier had died by Suyu's hands. Just what kind of abilities did he have? Wu Ming's expression finally turned serious, but it was still filled with disdain. You used hidden weapons to kill 5 people and used unorthodox methods to make people faint. I have to say that your strength is not bad, but your character is hard to predict. You have a murderous heart, and you will use any means necessary to achieve your goals. If you do not turn back now, you might sink deeper and deeper into the wrong path, unable to free yourself. Suyu had killed 5 Dragon Realm Level 7 lower tier, and had defeated a Dragon Realm Level 7 upper tier. But in nameless words, he could not even withstand a single blow. Such an evaluation was too much. Suyu had defeated 2 people, killed 5, and there were 3 left. Han Jianglin squinted his eyes, shock in the depths of his pupils. In just a few days, Suyu had managed to cultivate such a powerful technique. He could easily defeat a Dragon Realm Level 7. Until now, he had not been forced to use Buddhist Saints 8 characters. This person killed people in public, Han Jianglin said. He is cruel and vicious. All of you attack him together. There is no need to hold back. The last 3 people were a Dragon Realm Level 7 peak and 2 Dragon Realm Level 7 upper tier. Nameless stood with his arms crossed, a mocking smile on his lips. Let me see how long you can last against them. I'll also give you a few more comments. Suyu's cold eyes swept past, taking big strides toward Nameless. Since you want to know my abilities so badly, why don't you try it out yourself? Nameless took a few steps back, a smile on his face. Didn't I say that you do not have a right to fight me? Whether I have the right or not depends on my fists, not my mouth. If you are a man, fight me to your heart's content and settle your grudge. Don't be like a woman, afraid to fight, spouting nonsense at the side, making laughable comments to show off your existence. If this is your so-called self-confidence and invincibility, you are a joke. Nameless expression turned serious, his expression cold. Who do you think you are to be worthy of me fighting? Then I must try. Before Suyu's words had even landed, 3 sounds of air breaking could be heard. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 guards charged forward at the same time, blocking between Nameless and Suyu. Nameless let out a cold laugh. You should play with him first. I will not accompany you. After saying this, Nameless tapped the ground with his toes, flying toward the rostrum. But at this moment, space control. Suyu grunted in his heart. A powerful spatial force suddenly swept over, sucking the 3 guards into it and teleporting them 10 miles away. Nameless turned his head in surprise, realizing that the 3 of them had disappeared. His cold smile froze. Now, there is no one to disturb us. Suyu let out a light sigh, lifting his gaze and shooting it toward Nameless. Can we start the fight now? Nameless' pupils dilated. Without thinking, he flew toward the rostrum, turning his head and shouting, Inu, if you want to fight, go to the arena and wait for the fight. According to the rules, this is below the arena. Go back immediately. Suyu could not help but laugh. When you wanted to kill me, you did not care whether this was an arena or not. Why are you paying attention to the rules now that it is your turn? You finally admit that you do not dare to fight, so you let out a cold laugh, chasing after Nameless. Nameless felt his scalp go numb, using his fastest speed to escape in a hurry. This person had forced Su Yu out of his space teleportation, forcing Su Yu to the brink of death. Moreover, he had forced Su Yu to surpass his limits, using Buddhist saints' 8 characters, causing him to narrowly escape with his life. How could this blood debt be settled so easily? Haha, didn't you want to have a taste of the power of that secret technique? Now, I'll give you a chance. So you let out a cold laugh. Hearing this, Nameless' heart thumped wildly. Stop. This is a competition. What are you trying to do? Nameless roared. So you let out a cold laugh. Have you forgotten something? Just a moment ago, your Alliance Master Han had already stripped me of my qualifications. Now, I am merely a ruthless wanted criminal. Since you are ruthless, then you should do ruthless things. Nameless' expression changed, his movement technique quickly charging toward the rostrum. His speed was even faster than Su Yu's. Even the Immortal Realm level 1 Peak Lin Lungjian's movement technique could not compare to Su Yu's. This Nameless was even faster than Su Yu. His cultivation level had probably reached Immortal Realm level 2. How could a young genius reach Immortal Realm level 2 and still remain unknown? There was definitely a huge problem with his identity. Buddhist saints' 8 characters. Su Yu let out a low grunt, opening his mouth and taking a deep breath. At once, thunder rumbled, spirit energy gathering from all directions. Compared to the last time he used it, the phenomenon was even more shocking. Nameless' scalp turned numb. Even though he did not turn his head, he could feel a terrifying, destructive energy brewing behind him. Once it exploded, that power, Alliance Master, save me. Nameless was panicking, letting out a low grunt, calling for help from Han Jianglin, who was on the rostrum. At this point, he no longer had the leisure to criticize Su Yu. He no longer said that he could not be bothered to fight Su Yu. He no longer had the excuse to drag things out. There was only one reason why he did not fight Su Yu. He did not dare to fight Su Yu. Feeling the destructive energy Su Yu was brewing, Han Jianglin's eyes were filled with killing intent. This person's potential was too frightening. 3 days ago, the same technique was not even half as powerful as what he was using now. If it was 3 days ago, he might not have been able to cause any serious damage to Nameless. But now, stop it. Han Jianglin let out a cold hum. He then flew over and attacked Su Yu. The audience was shocked. The 100 Territories Alliance Master had personally attacked to kill a junior. But Su Yu had no intention of stopping, his eyes filled with mockery. Was there any room for him to stop at this point? When the other party wanted to kill Su Yu, had he ever thought of stopping? Now that Nameless was in danger, he hoped that Su Yu would stop. Shaking his head, Su Yu slowly opened his mouth. Lin. At once, a sound of heaven and earth, as if it had appeared when heaven and earth were being split apart, surged forth. That sound seemed like it could destroy heaven and earth, shattering a hole in the chaotic heaven and earth. Rumble. Ah! A pitiful cry reverberated throughout the beast-fighting arena. Nameless' entire body shook, his back a bloody mess. As his body shook, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Within the blood, there was a red elixir. This elixir had been in his mouth all this time. An even more shocking scene appeared. After the elixir left his mouth, the muscles on his face began to squirm, changing continuously. In the end, Nameless turned into another person.